Do we have everybody here?
I'm here.
Cool.
I am also here.
Welcome to being here, where the here is. Alright, so the idea here was to start up a new game, as we occasionally do. Because there wasn't entirely certain if everybody was going to make it to the first one or not, this is going to be kind of like a prequel to the actual game. So I think we're going to establish the plot points that will then establish the plot points that will go into the game going forward. Beginning with where we are and who we are and how we got there, and a little bit of history for each of the characters. So this is probably going to translate to like a scene by scene by scene thing that will eventually lead us into a culminated scene that will go for as long as it goes, to kind of figure out how the actual game is beginning. We got some new folks in this time that have not been in here before. So we got Nari in here, and we have John in here, who has not been in here for a very long time. And then
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And then we got folks from previous games that are in here, like Sam and Ellie and Fox and myself. I've been in a couple, I guess. 1 or 2 or 3. Cool. Alright, so setting-wise, one thing that hadn't been figured out just yet was kind of what planet to be on, because it isn't terribly important to the overall story I've got in mind. It mostly just flavors setting. So I was going to ask if there was a location that folks wanted to be at.
I like Venus, but I also haven't played, so I have no real preference. I just remember reading about it.
All right.
If I'm not mistaken, that's also Sammy's favorite planet.
I'm fine with Venus.
That joke belly flopped.
Oh, I didn't know you were joking.
I didn't know who Sandy was.
I said, oh my god. I said Sammy.
Oh, I thought you said Sandy, and I was like, I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Nori, did I interrupt you?
No, I was just mid-laugh and paused.
Now, I will say Sammy will say that Venus is where everything terrible happens, so we might as well be there.
It does set things off on the right foot, I suppose.
Well, I was also thinking, we go to Venus, we get the Scooby-Doo mystery case, and then suddenly exonymphs everywhere.
Do we actually have an exonymph mascot?
We do not currently. Actually, so at the moment, for this first session, we're going to dial back to previous to some places we're going to get to. So what I want to do with this session is figure out how everybody got to the school, and then probably establish the first mission, which is like how the whole idea of the ghost hunter thing began. Just so that we have a little background of folks, because that always makes it more fun. I'm hoping to establish a genuine camaraderie so that when shit actually goes down, it becomes a little bit more direct.
If stuff goes wrong, I'm going to let you all die.
See, this is
Thanks.
the camaraderie that we're trying to establish, so that
Glitter.
that there may be a thing to that. So I got a call for Venus.
I am indifferent.
Yep, I'm fine with whatever.
I've been wherever. I just don't want to be on Mercury.
But it went so
Fair
well
enough.
for you last time. I mean, you completed the mission.
I hear Mercury has no atmosphere.
I mean, it's true though.
John died at the end. I don't really want that to happen again.
Fair
We
enough.
got another John.
That's true. Poor John Doe.
John Doe turned into a 2-mile long blight spot and burned to a crisp, and then got icy hot on freaking Mercury. Let's not do that again.
The added misery of catching on fire really didn't. It was kind of bad enough already. It's only worse when it starts burning.
I know, but it's just the icy hot because it's cold and then it's burning.
Okay.
Poor guy. He
So
was very dear to me.
it's because it was a deer. For those of you who didn't know,
I am now informed.
I can explain the joke if you need help.
The hell's a deer?
It
Fair
would
enough.
behoove you to do so.
Ha!
Dear.
I don't have a crying option for this avatar, but I need to make one. Okay, so we'll do it on Venus, and perhaps even live on Venus. Which is convenient because we actually already have a semi-haunted setting over there, so that's kind of cool. I don't think we're going to do it directly in that same town, but it will be someplace perhaps adjacent, so maybe we can visit there for a mission or something, because it's a good locale for spooky things to happen. Where you guys actually are, we'll get a little context here, right? So a long time ago, in a galaxy relatively adjacent to our own, or perhaps this very same one, there was a term used for centers of higher learning called universities that gained a little bit of baggage in the time of humans for reasons that most people in the Common Era aren't particularly canny of. It's just sort of became a bad term for stuff. But there's one thing true about post-human soul. It's despite all their technological advances, they have actually progressed very little. So a lot of the same concepts that have existed in the past continue to exist in some form or another, despite certain inefficiencies or just having better ways to do them, specifically because they're reliable and because they allow certain systems to remain in place, which people have come to rely on for both getting the proper influx of employees and certain social practices and proper training for just behavioral practices and whatnot. The names changed, the concepts changed. Most of the colleges became sort of like vocational schools where you learn a specific skill, especially when it became clear that with advents of greater artificial intelligence and a whole lot of automation, it wasn't absolutely necessary for people to learn broader concepts when they could focus on specific ones and just kind of do that, and the broader stuff got handled by programming. Which allowed people to be programmed, which was kind of nice for what they the folks who wanted them in certain positions wanted them to do. But it also meant that they could start redefining what certain specific centers of learning did, and tailoring a bit more toward tailoring for certain roles and jobs and in societies and ranks inside corps. So there became a model where you would basically go off to learn specific skill sets, very specialized skill sets, so that you could fill a particular role in a corporation that you were being tailored for. And that would be to be where you went off to do. And they didn't necessarily recruit from the best and brightest because they could basically have their choice of a lot of different people. And the whole point of the area was to make sure that you learned whatever specific skills were required to do the job. It wasn't necessarily that you excel at it. You were just kind of another gear in the machine. So in order to create these kind of inclusive areas, they had to limit access, for one, because they didn't want it to make it so that all the teeming billions would try to get into it. They were looking for specifics that fit certain niches, and the best way to kind of gate watch that sort of thing was through the usual methods, money and invitation. So some of these places, which came to be called academies, would be invitation only, or it would be based on some specific requirement, not always related to like grade or performance so much as who you knew, because then they could be certain that you would fit certain behavioral standards that they wanted for their show. So a little snooty, so to speak, and often frowned upon by other areas that were a bit more inclusive that they put in, like the general academies or the general colleges and stuff like that, run by Genesis was the Marsco one. And a few other ones there, but these centers on their own had a certain degree of pomp just associated with the extreme amount of wealth that went through them, and special access to corporate tools because the corps had a vested interest in getting the specific people being trained for specific things out of those locations. So it's all partnerships, right? The one that you were in, or heading into, is a particularly advanced one. That is literally head and shoulders above the city that it circles, and it's actually a flying device. It's like a giant floating island. Not giant, just big. It's like the size of a college campus kind of thing, plus a little area around it. That will circle the city that it travels around. I'm going to call it Galen Academy, after the great Professor Galen that created the metaphysics shield. Star Trek reference, if anybody was curious about that. Moving on. Anyway, so it circles the city and is a kind of home away from home for the elite and biggest and brightest, according to their brochures. Really, it's just whoever can pay for admission, or whoever has been invited by people whose clout allows the admission to be paid for by virtue of their presence. And that's kind of a big one, because that separates a little bit from the people who are just in there because they're rich versus the people who are in there because somebody recognized something great in them. There are a little bit of both, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the ones that were just in there on money don't necessarily have anything to offer, but there is a kind of division within the school about whether or not you were invited because it is expected that your family, who has ties to the city and whoever else would receive an invitation. Or if you were invited because one of the professors or something like that saw something that you did down there in the lower levels and said this person needs to be watched or cultivated in some way. So there's a division that happens within there, and then on the other strata within the academy that's floating in the clouds here is that there is a certain elite group of students, which is like a kind of alpha squadron kind of thing, where those who are choosing to excel of their own volition could get into direct recruitment into like command ranks for direct corps placement. Naval ranks or areas of high prestige or something like that, because the corps will look to those division over the rest of the division to figure out who is going to become rank and file and who is going to become something that they want in a particular place of power. And there's a pretty big struggle to get noticed any way or every way you can as unique and canny and capable in some way. And that can manifest in different ways through private projects, through acts of theatrics, through anything that shows that you are clever and capable of making money and showing some sort of skill that they can then leverage in some way. So what I want to start with is some character introductions, and then we're going to try to figure out how everybody got into here and maybe play that out a little bit on an individual level. Does anybody want to begin? Or be the first victim?
I mean, I can go first since I've kind of got it fresh in my head.
Fair enough. Okay, so who are you?
My character is just named Jury. Haven't figured out a last name yet.
Okay.
She's a lateral bearded vulture, which is those really awesome one with the red eyes and kind of fuzzy
Nice.
feathers that turn red because they eat all the dang bone marrow.
I'm assuming that hers have not turned red because of bone marrow eating.
Correct. She has
Yeah.
not been consuming anything that would do this, so she's still white. And she is here because her father is actually a medical professional with progenitus, but she didn't want to go into what at the teenage rebellious stage is considered boring lab work. She wants to do field work and EMT kind of stuff, so she's working on becoming like a paramedic or something like that.
Okay.
And
So, when the who do you have for like direct family that might have some degree of clout for one particular reason or another?
I was gonna go with the father in this case simply because like he works like as a actual medical practitioner with the surgeries and stuff, so maybe he's done something that reasonably impressive that your daughter might do this well too.
Is he on the level, or is it's kind of a shady thing?
As far as she knows, he's on the level. So she doesn't really pry too much into his business.
Okay. Would you say that like in actuality you think it's fairly on the level, or is there kind of a shady thing?
I would think that she's probably suspicious that he's getting contracts from other places that aren't progenitus, and he's doing a lot of stuff with Vitae.
Could be perhaps dipping a toe in the other water.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Okay, so there could be a potential there, which might or may not, depending on how suspicious she is, surprise her when he arrives one day, clutching a golden ticket, basically in his hand. Would you say that you lived? I'll break down the city here really quick, right? So we had the academies that are floating around. There were a couple of them. There are a couple of rival ones. They're owned by the same company, but there's like 3 rival schools, right? If you want to get a relative idea for these things, they're like loosely based on the concept of like Hogwarts meets Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII kind of deal. Like, it's just this big mechanical floating island thing. Once it activates movement mode, I guess. But it's about that size, so it's big enough to have classes and a grouping in and whatnot without being absolutely enormous. But it's kind of like a city block that floats around.
Right.
And those are around and part of the city that you can kind of go visit and stuff, but for the most part they stick to themselves. And then down in the city themselves, there's a central area that's like the downtown zone with all the big businesses and the large buildings, and it spreads out from there. There's suburbs, and it's a fairly standard configuration. There are some parts here and there that will get a little less wealth versus a little more wealth. So there are safer areas to be in necessarily, some dangerous parts that are around, but for multiple different reasons. And for one of the interesting parts about it is this is one of the original cities that was made in preparation for colonists on Venus. So a lot of these buildings predate life on the planet. They were built there by the systems that were pre-generating city structures for incoming immigrants. And there were buildings that have come up after that, but the older buildings are built of the land itself. Like their actual aggregate is built out of the rock, so it kind of looks like they're built into cliff faces and stuff like that. And then the new ones are kind of built around them. So there are a few structures in here that predate modern life on the planet, not by any huge degree because it was during the terraforming age, but they dip into some of the deeper tunnels that are under the kind of concrete lattice work of Venus. So depending on where you're living, those are considered to be older buildings. Vectors have an almost American level thought of age, in that if something is 50 years old, it's pretty old, and if you get up to 100 years old, why the fuck is it still standing? Like, why would it be there, kind of thing. So, the ones that were there pre-colonist era during the terraforming stage, those buildings are going on 400 years or something like that, and they still stand up because they were built of tough stuff. But they look old, they feel old, and to the local denizens, that is a somewhat less desirable place to be because it's not built of all the new stuff.
I'm kind of going to go with, like, she's kind of what I guess would be Vector middle class in that case. She's got enough money to be kind of rebellious to the family and be able to do so without, some serious risk to herself. So she's kind of operating on that, like, useful idea of, like, how well, she can make it on her own and stuff.
Okay. Then when Dad comes home one day, clutching an envelope of some sorts, you are a little perplexed because you're not really sure what he's filling out for. But he's got a wry grin, and he says, "Okay, go ahead. Open it up."
All right, she's going to take the letter with her push frame and open it, and kind of maybe slowly go slack-jawed at what it is, because this wasn't really on the table ever for her.
And he goes, see, I got the invitation today. They sent it down. They sent it down. It was crazy. It showed up with like a mechanical bird dropped it off. I mean, not like a cog, but I mean like an actual mechanic. It was cute. I liked it.
Racist.
Well, both of her parents are actual bird vectors, which is also partially why she remains lateral, because both of them sort of have this weird whimsy about flight, and that's one of the few ways you can actually truly achieve it.
You may have actually been up there, because it's not miles up. So for lateral birds, it's an approachable altitude and stuff. You could have flown by the place. They have their own airspace they want to keep people out of, but you can still see it. Mm-hmm. So he goes, yeah. I mean, it's a little on the pricey side, but we can handle it. It's no problem. I've got we've still got work coming in and whatnot, and it's pretty great. Somebody I had been mentioning that I had a daughter that's following in my footsteps, and just the right people looked. the right people looked. So yeah, I mean, do you want to go?
Of course, yes.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah. He does a little happy thing. By the way, is it just him, or did you still have a mom around?
she's got a mom, but her mom is part of the Marsco thing, and she's mostly in and out. She kind of goes between, going back home on
Okay.
Venus and going back on contract work. I haven't really fleshed her out yet, so.
That's fine. So it's like, yeah. So we'll send mom. We'll send mom a letter. But yeah, you can start. I mean, they get things ready for in just about a couple weeks. Just a couple. Well, I mean, it's not that far away, but this would be the first time out of the house. Yay! Yay! He does a little dance. He looks like he's pretty excited about the whole situation, because it is kind of big news, right? You haven't done
Right.
checks here yet, but let's do one just for funsies. So we're gonna do a community perceive, and the way that works is I'm gonna say the difficulty on this is 2.
Okay.
What is your community perceive score?
Okay. Now we start looking for shit on the sheet.
It's in the trait area on the first sheet.
Okay, trait.
It should be like 3 columns: mind, body, and community. The second number should be your perceive.
Okay, I've got a community perceive of 1.
Okay. And then what is your community exert score?
1.
Okay, so easy enough, right? You are 1 point below the difficulty on the check. So what you're going to do is you're looking at your community perceive score, because that's what the check is, and it's a 1. So you're 1 point below the difficulty of 2. When your difficulty and the score is even, you're rolling 2 dice, 2d8. If you're below that by 1 point, you're rolling a d8 and a d6. If you're below that by 2 points, d6 and d6, 3 points, d4 and d6. It downgrades 1 dice and then the next dice. Same thing going above it, right? If you are above it by 1 point, you go d8 and d10. If you're above it by 2 points, d10 and d10. You just upgrade 1 dice by 1 every time. So you're going to roll d6 and d8. And because this is a perceived check, you basically add your exert score as a passive bonus, which is 1. So d8 and d6 plus 1. You got a 9. Okay. If you were of a mind to, you can spend focus to reroll these dice or to add +1 to them. That's completely up to you. You can choose to pass or fail, or spend focus to try to reroll it. Focus replenishes on a nightly basis.
Okay, so I have 8 of 8. I'm gonna do just reroll.
Yeah, you got
to
a lot.
see.
Yeah. So you can choose which dice to reroll, and you can reroll both, but you don't have to.
I'm gonna just reroll the 1d. Well, actually, yeah, just run d8.
Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's enough. So 12 is always the passing number.
Okay.
So you passed. You do pick up a hint of trepidation. It is difficult to figure out if that's really from like maybe there might be strings attached to this deal, or if it's just because little girl's going away. His bird is flying off into the future. Because it is a big moment. You didn't graduate high school, or what equivalents to high school. I honestly haven't decided what ages all this stuff kind of ends at. It is considered to be a little bit younger than what we would currently look at, just because a lot of the learning is done through download.
Right.
But it's fairly early. You guys can pick your own ages. It's fine.
I was gonna put her in like the 17.
He may not be completely ready for you to disappear, but you're not going far. He does live in this city. Right, and you have the ability to fly, which is convenient if you ever want to go visit home. However, there is, as you will, start looking through the brochure and stuff, there are rules for when you are allowed to leave and when you're supposed to stay, kind of thing. So it won't be immediate access to get back to. But depending on the paranoia of your character, he may have had to pull some strings to do this. That is a reputation that's attached to the school in general. It's almost like nobody gets up there for free kind of thing. Not just for money, but you have to do a favor to handle it, because it's not
one of those selfish things with the character. She probably will pick up on that, but she's not going to act too much on it, because she's sort of like in that rebellious I want to do my own thing, and she's not going to think too hard about getting out of the house.
Fair enough. Well, the opportunity is here, and he seems great on it. So as far as you are aware, you will be starting up soon, and we'll get to what everybody's going to get for materials here when we get to that. Okay. Moving on to the next person. Let's go.
I'll go next.
Okay. So who are you?
I am playing Gus. He is a basic possum. He's pretty normal as far as looks go. And he really likes to craft little.
You cut out there.
Oh, sorry. He's basic vector, no morphisms, normal looking. I don't really know how else to describe him apart from that. I think everyone's just gonna have to see him.
a tad grungy, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Always kind of dirty. Hair never really combed right. It just kind of naturally sticks up in a little, bright blue hair sticks up in a little bit of a spiky little mohawk kind of on its own.
Where was Gus before these years?
Gus probably. Well, he definitely grew up off of the campus, obviously. In like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like where I grew up, where you're like just on the outskirts of the city, where everything's kind of run down because all the money is going into the city proper. And that's definitely where he grew up.
Okay. Kind of the old part of town, like the rundown. Yeah.
Okay, ground level sort of thing. All right, so the question now becomes, how do you suppose you got up into this area? And you can kind of like this yourself. I mean, I can arrange something, or you guys can kind of figure it out. But if you got recruited by somebody noticed you, or somebody performed a service that would be worthy of invitation, kind of thing.
I'm actually not sure how Gus would have gotten there, but he definitely would have definitely made runs to go look through trash cans and things for parts in the nice areas of town that he couldn't get closer to where he lives.
So I think something that would work fairly well for him is if you go the kind of Big Hero 6 route of it was just somebody who was particularly skilled that got noticed.
Yeah.
Right, and pulled in, who didn't really expect that they were going to be going there. So in this case, I think in the NPC document you mentioned that you wanted to have some attachment to the one professor that was the kind of nice professor.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, let's make him a kind of sponsor for him. So, do we want this to be a friend of the family thing, or just a random notice? What does Gus do for entertainment? Where's it go?
Well,
to peddle
I had
his
in
wares.
The document that he's he's friends with Aaron, and spends a lot of his time over at his house playing video games and stuff because he doesn't. Gus is impoverished. Gus is homeless, and so he just kind of crashes on Aaron's couch sometimes, and they play games. They do RPG stuff. They just nerd out.
And you said that he's got the kind of buildy robot thing. Does he do anything with them, or?
Oh yeah, he usually what he does is he builds robots to help with basic tasks, but that are kind of more annoyances than anything. He's got little robots that will reheat leftovers to a very, very carefully so they're not nuclear on the outside and cold on the center. He's got things that will specifically for him, he made a little robot that will help clean out the grooves in his tail that he can't reach.
These are the robots that everybody needs but nobody wants to buy.
Exactly. A little robot that gladly serves as a toothbrush, probably. So he won't have the money to buy one.
This is a certain level of personal practicality that just shouldn't be for sale. Okay, so it's quirky, which I think we can use. So I'm going to say, because I was thinking about, it seems like Aaron is a common point through several people, so I'm going to say that Gen was a friend of Aaron's family, and that's probably how Aaron got in, because Aaron is not particularly adept other than just kind of being your average cool guy. So he's somebody that you ran into by virtue of crashing on Aaron's couch once in a while, and he always struck you as this very not fancy, but just well tailored individual. Gen's a older gentleman, that has a slim frame and well cut vests and wears clothing that just is about 2 steps extra what it needs to be. Not in a fancy Hawaiian shirt sense, but almost in he might be heading off to the steampunk convention. He just forgot his gears. There may occasionally even be a ruffle, but not often. The ruffles, you're gonna have to hold those down a little bit. But he has shown up and had dinner with the family once in a while, and it was kind of a done deal. Expected that Aaron was going to get in by virtue of wealth. His family, while they didn't live exactly in the super rich center of the area, they just had a lot of good connections. They had kind of a normal house. They were fairly down-to-earth individuals, but there was enough money there for them to kind of do what they wanted to do. And they had several different homes in different spots. They just happened to choose to live on a less than I need a giant mansion in the center of town fashion. They had like a suburban home here, and then a vacation home over there, and a few other things in various places. So you lived in kind of the main home, which was just this sort of nice place in suburbia. And Jen went over there and was friends with the parents, and eventually kind of noticed that when you came over, various doodads in the house began to behave in different ways. So, as you were sitting there playing, I'm going to assume that we've passed enough time that time being cyclical, right? Dance Revolutions come back by now.
Of course.
Yeah, I figured that would be the case. It comes and goes in waves. So you have created this. And you have a little robot or something that is like pointing out the various things you need to go to ahead of time and giving you little tips on it, which is a very specific thing for the robot to do. And he says, so do they sell this assistant, or where did this come from?
Oh, I did that. I made that.
You made the little robot that's giving you the. Wait, what about this one over here? He says, pointing to the thing that is specifically designed to zip and unzip your sleeping bag.
Like, oh yeah, I made that one too.
Wouldn't it be simpler to just have one do both things?
Well, yeah, but then they won't feel special.
He chuckles a little bit and looks at it and looks around the side to see the various stash of bags of various robots that do different stuff. And he says, what does this one do? Lifting up some doodad from the corner.
That one specifically warms your butter and then spreads it on your toast.
Oh. Does that make it feel special? The robot says no, by the way. Specifically.
Shut up. No, but it makes it feel useful, because it is.
Do you partake in enough butter that this was a thing that you felt needed to be made?
Well, I mostly made that one for other people.
Oh.
And it's not just bread, it can do pancakes, it can do waffles, things like that.
It nods eagerly, and it says, "Is there one that will make me a pancake?"
Sort of. It won't taste good, but it can make it.
Robot,
So work with that.
present me an adequate pancake.
And a little robot that's clearly made out of a flat iron. For cooking, will roll up on little treads and into the kitchen, and its treads will adhere to the counters as it climbs up, and it'll start making ingredients and just mixing it in a bowl and then pouring it into its head, and it'll start cooking it.
Is there a robot that cleans the other robot's head?
Yes.
Is it good at its job?
That one is yes. Very good.
Oh, okay, good. I'm feeling a little bit more confident about it. Everything seems to be working well. The robot's head on fire. Is it supposed to be on fire?
No, it is not. Hang on. I'll go start trying to put it out.
He chuckles at it. So what is the heating element if it's not the flaming robot head?
There's a coil in there. It's built underneath the I guess the jaw, and it's supposed to heat the bottom evenly. And as he's putting out little flames and cleaning off little fire marks and stuff from it, they're I think I may have overcharged it.
he grins a little bit and says, "These are very fun. Perhaps a little inefficient, but I think that adds to their quirkiness." And he'll spend the rest of kind of the evening a little bit looking through them and seeing the various assortment of 20 some odd robots doing the job that one decent Marsco purchased drone would do, all made out of various pieces of silverware. And he says, "So where did you learn to do all this?"
Oh, I kind of taught myself.
And he will raise a brow a little bit and says, "So what are you planning on doing now? You just graduated, right?"
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I really want to do mechanic work. I think, people always need their ships fixed.
Do you know anything about fixing ships?
Well, I've worked on some personal vehicles, not always legally, or with people knowing, but I have.
He smiles a little bit, and he gets a little digital pen and writes down a note that goes to your toggle that says, and it has an address on it. He says, "I have a little personal ship over there that's been damaged for some time. I keep meaning to bring it in, but there just isn't time for it. I'd be willing to pay you to fix it up.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And get me one of the little Salsa robots too."
Can you repeat that? Sorry, you cut out for me.
I said, "Get me one of the little Salsa robots too," which I assume is
Okay.
a robot that just dispenses seltzer from its mouth.
Yes. It's just it's vaguely bottle shaped and it just kind of foams at the mouth.
just vomits it outward.
Yes.
And after some amount of time, you will get the ship fixed, and sometime after that, you will find a letter waiting for you at Aaron's house, with a golden ticket inside it around the same time that Aaron gets in as well. And the letter has your name on it, which is shocking because you don't get too many letters that have your name on it, short of things requiring bills.
Yeah, or things that just say resident.
Yeah. And it gets on it, and Aaron kind of winked at you and said, so I don't think they're going to waive your tuition indefinitely, but that's an invite, man. I mean, you got it. I think I think Gen vouched for you.
That's wonderful. Maybe they'll let me stay if I can prove I can do stuff.
I mean, probably because it's really expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a fair amount of money, but my folks are kind of growling at me about how much is getting spent to do this. So, and I don't think they're footing your bill. So, yeah, I would definitely go talk to your sponsor about how you're going to do this. But welcome to the club, man.
Thanks. I'm excited. We're going to have a lot of fun.
There's a uniform requirement, and they kind of need it in decent condition.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can make a robot. I can make a robot for that.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm gonna need it too. All right, who else we got wants to go? Your excitement is overwhelming.
I was figuring I was letting the newbies go.
We want to go through everybody. We can do you. So who are you?
Right, I am Sarah Lella.
Oh my god! How am I gonna write that?
Lehla is the second name. The first name is Sarah. She is a Fennec vector, just a standard Fennec vector, if a bit on the short side. She likes all things bright and garish, and she's very, very enthusiastic about everything she wants to do, which is most things. She's a little aimless in life, but she's slowly finding her way. She enjoys her physical activities. She enjoys the sporty stuff, but she has a little bit of a dorky side in that she really, really loves the AR games.
Nice. Okay, and where was she? What was she doing before collegiate times?
I figure she was. She's just come out of school herself.
Mm-hmm.
She elected to take a gap year, even though probably not a thing. But she also
we just call it not going to school in the States.
But she basically spent that time trying out for various little different sporty teams. Nothing major, just she's trying to get into that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
how did that go?
She's middling.
Yeah.
She didn't particularly excel, which has annoyed her because she wants to excel. But yeah.
And how about the home situation?
At home, she's got her wonderful parents who are very supportive, if a little tired of her switching her goals constantly. And she has her sister Gina, who is yours.
So Sister Gina, I'm going to say, is about the same age. We were going to go for twins, right?
Yeah, I can do twins. I'm not fussed.
Right.
It's all workable.
So I think the twins is okay. And Sister Gina, while has not been a particularly antagonistic force in your life, has been vexing because she kind of figured out her niche early, liked it, and has pursued it with gusto. And has proven to be quite adept at it. So she turned out to be a very had a very cinematic eye, and was able to do a lot with very very little kind of technology. Like Mom and Dad got her a camera at one point.
Yeah,
and she
I figure Sarah has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder because Gina shined pretty early on, and Sarah really wants to differentiate herself from her sister,
right?
And perhaps try and overtake her.
Which appearance-wise, you're both Fenix, but like I think your character is significantly shinier.
Yeah, she's to differentiate herself. She actually went and got cosmetic surgery and such. Saved up money.
Are they identical twins or are they just twins?
They're just twins.
Not identical, but similar enough that she wanted to stand out a bit more.
Right. So there are features that are familiar. I figured they weren't going to be clones, but the now that you have gotten additional stuff and shiny hair and whatnot, it's fairly distinct. Perhaps beknownst to you, I'm not going to make you roll for any of it because it's assumed that you've logged enough time with your sister that you kind of know each other pretty well. She might actually be a little jealous of your current style because she's fairly quote-unquote mundane in what she does. She really kind of buckled down on what she was doing and didn't get out a whole lot and really do any of the more social-related aspects that your character has done. And if that has flustered her enough that she's angry about it, she hasn't really said it or anything like that. But she kind of got the idea that maybe this was getting her a little bit, and maybe that made it better. So it drove home that perhaps this could be cool. But there was a sad moment that came in a couple months ago when a letter arrived at the doorstep with a very familiar sigil on the front of it, addressed to her. And while you weren't immediately aware of it when she opened it, it was this invitation to this elite academy that's circled in the clouds, this kind of thing that you saw in the sunsets in the evenings, and it was like, oh shit, she got that from making videos. Like, and the parents were overjoyed, and they're like, okay, well, we'll figure out funding for it. You know, the corps will help sponsor it and stuff like that because there's a guaranteed improvement. But there was a whole lot of really exciting stuff that went through for something that to some degree always it seemed like a hobby that she was just too into. And it was a frustrating evening that evening. And a little time went by after that, and you were off running at some point when playing an AR game when a shiny popped up. A little indication popped up on the viewer that was you got a utility eye, right, that you were using for it. Yeah. So an indication of a secret kind of popped in, and it was using an interface ping that you didn't recognize. Like, this wasn't a particle effect you had seen before. It wasn't really doing anything that was significant, but you figured it was part of the game, and it was telling you to divert course to head off in another direction.
Okay. Fucking must be a rare find, so obviously go off and get it.
Now, what I was going to ask, because you and Glitter were supposedly kind of jogging buddies, do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that post-school thing?
We can do that post.
Yeah, I think we met thanks to the...
We meet after because of the jogging.
Okay.
Need.
So would you be doing this alone, or would you be doing this with other people?
Well, let's see. I did picture her playing a sort of group-based game. But there's soloing in those as well. So she could either be off with Aaron, another guild member, or solo, whatever's more fitting.
All right. I think for this one, you'll be on your own. You're doing a grind right now, yeah. So you are in the same game with you're with Aaron, and by virtue of that you're with Gus. Although I don't know if you've necessarily met him. You can decide that if you want to right now. Aaron, I think you have met because you guys are. Oh no, let's say no because it makes it a little easier. You know him and you know he's in the same city. Because you guys communicate over the same guild, Gus the same way, but you guys are probably on opposite ends of the tracks or whatnot. You've never actually gone and met him. But you've talked to him and stuff, and perhaps it's been a little Mike did lately because people are all getting ready for this new thing that's coming up. So you're off running around on your own.
She spent the last hour going. Anyone want a group? No. Okay.
Fine. Guess I'll go this way. They're all jealous because you get experience twice as fast because you jog. It's like Pogo, which has now taken its proper name of Pokemon Global Offensive. So you divert course a little bit and head off into the distance, and this is taking you a little bit more toward the outskirts of the city proper. And as you come around a corner, a long line appears, and the destination is miles away, which is not a thing that happens very often, but usually means that it's pointing towards something pretty significant. One of the annoyance factors of this particular game is that it doesn't often tell you like what it is you're heading toward. You have certain filters of things that it can do based on things that you're looking for. But if it is pinging from miles away, it must be really significant to your filters.
Or at least you really, really hope so.
Yeah, or you're really, really hopeful. Or you're going to make a really angry forum post later on tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. You can get there conceivably by walking, but it's got a timer ticking on it, and it's going to be pretty tight if you don't get a car.
Oh, can I afford a car?
You can Uber it for a couple credits to head over there. This is all behavior that is a little peculiar for the game. It doesn't often make you go transact in order to make it to an area. Usually it's going to give you enough a timer to get there and stuff like that. So it's quirked her interest as just not being something it does very often.
Let's see. She likes her jogging such. Does she think she could run there?
Yeah,
even if it's
probably.
close.
If you push it a little bit, it wouldn't get you a whole lot of room once you got there. So if it's some kind of battle or anything, you might not have a chance to finish it.
Risky business. Okay, she'll hire out an Uber.
Okay.
She'll get a printed taxi.
One will pop through not too long enough, and it just costs a couple credits to get into it. It will head you off in that direction. And as you are traveling that way, you're looking around, and things are pinging on your area. The first little sign that says, don't play this game while driving. Then you click I'm a passenger, and then you proceed forward while driving. You continue down the city, heading inward towards some deeper parts of it, and it's going around the outside edges. And the terrain over here is all kind of considered to be a little less than safe for general wandering. So they don't usually spawn large things out in this spot. It's kind of like warehouse centers and the equipment yards and things that the places are gated and they don't really want you wandering around in. Large machines are moving automatically that aren't necessarily designed to notice everything living around them. And it's a little. You definitely haven't been out here on a raid or any kind of climb. It's a little creepy because you're getting into the evening at this point. The sun is going down. You're catching sunset. The shadows are getting longer, and it's mostly cleared out. The day workers have moved out from this point, and the Uber will eventually stop, and you can get out, and you've got a walk of maybe 5 minutes or so to get to where your destination is.
She's going to be smart, and she's just going to send a random friend on her phone, her toggle, a message of, "Hey, I'm here if you don't hear from me."
It goes to the inbox. It probably goes to Aaron's inbox or someone else's because they haven't shown up. You will actually get a response back from a guildmate of what are you doing over there? There's nothing that responds over in that area.
That's a special event or drop or something.
Seriously? I'll hang on. I'll check the global reports. And it goes off to see if you can find anything online about what might be dropping on the outskirts of town over there. In the meantime, your timer is ticking down. You still got a little bit of a walk.
Pick up the pace a little bit.
Go ahead and do a Mind Perceive difficulty 2.
Okey-doke. Roll to the slash roll. You said difficulty 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to find where my... There it is. So it's a d6 plus d8 plus 2. Because I have a 3 in mind exact. But hey.
You make it. As you're walking, you look around. You can see the usual augments for terrain and whatnot. As they're popping up, beautiful crystals and neat skylines, monsters in the distance, and all the stuff that are usually just augmented for the game being on. But it occurs to you as you head deeper into this kind of building, which is a very large kind of scaffolding structure, that the stuff that you are seeing is auto-generated by the app. It's not dynamic generated. So things aren't spawning. They're just there by virtue of the environment being turned on. You haven't actually seen a spawn for a little while.
Huh. Okay, she sent out a quick message of, I think my game might be glitched.
It pings back a no service error.
No service? The hell?
As you're looking forward, you can see the map line is still heading directly into a building and up a stairway, and you can see it mapping the whole way up. But as you get the no service ping, it flickers a little bit, and the overall appearance of the line changes. And it's not like it becomes weird or distorted or anything like that. It's just like it hopped over to a different interface, and it's a graphics like style that is not familiar to you from the game.
Huh.
It's just got a different shimmer, different particle effect.
What kind of area did you say this was?
You're basically in like a I don't know what the best sort of machine thing to talk about it, and it's like not like a refinery, but it's a big kind of industrial zone.
It's an industrial thing.
Yeah. And it is the line wants you to go through a gate and up a stairway on the outside of a large industrial building.
She's gonna stare up at it, going, "This is dumb. This is really dumb." But I'm so fucking curious. Can I find a pipe or something to pick up?
Yeah, do a body perceive difficulty 1. Actually, probably 0. I mean, they're everywhere.
It's 0, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, the 8, 10, then 2. We have revealed where my 2 stats are.
Fair enough. Yes, you are able to find something that you think you can probably wield to the degree of pain.
Well, she's going to pick that up just in case someone tries to do the old horror stories of people being mind kidnapped and shit. She's going to grab one of those and head on in. Try to, at least.
As you were going in there, the line flickers again, and the actual there is a brief moment where you see a warning pop up from the game, and you catch a sort of the warning saying that you are outside of a service area, do not play in this zone, and the warning dismisses, and the illusion dismisses. The game turns itself off, or something turns the game off, and you are now in the normal area, And for a moment, there's no overlay that's going on in your eyes. You're just kind of in the fading light in this industrial complex.
Am I able to see where the line was?
Actually, when you turn back to the line, it's still there. And as you're looking around a little bit, you hear 3 piano notes, which I will actually get you the tune for it at some point, because I am musically completely brain dead and I couldn't even tell you what the notes are. I will pick them out, but they're distinct. They chime in your ear. That make this kind of like doom 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 noise, like an interface chime, and the line flashes at you, and it's still bold and very visible, but nothing else from the game is there.
Okay, I've come this far. She's going to creep along.
Okay.
Warily.
It's a bit of a climb. You creep to begin with, and it wants you to go up and up and up, and it takes you up about 4 or 5 stories. to the end of it to a locked door, and as you reach to the door handle, the handle shines in the same kind of interface recognition that you would be for an object that's interactable.
Huh. Okay, she will touch it as she would an object that is part of the game normally.
Doesn't do anything. I mean, you can feel that it's actually a real door, and when you try to twist it, the door seems to be locked. It's not a particularly well bulwarked door. It looks like it's just a service door meant to kind of keep animals from wandering in or whatever. So you can probably defeat it with physical force.
Oh, this is getting illegal.
Dun, dun, dun. And it chimes again, and the handle again is shining at you.
She's gonna give a glance around. Anyone around here? Seems pretty empty.
Yeah, where you're at, there's definitely nobody because you're on like a lattice worked ladder kind of thing. Or
well, she's going to look at the pipe she's holding, and she's going to try and wedge it in and get this door open.
Okay. Do a body athletics. We'll say difficulty 2.
I can do that. I'm good at body athletics. Oh, I even have a boon in this, so I'll be able to get some rerolls if it goes wrong.
Thunk. With a
in fact, this actually it should be even better. It's simplified, but there we go.
You are able to pop the door out of its little socket and swing it open. And on the inside is a large open platform, like a room that hasn't been fully built yet. It's like a staging area. And down in the middle, you can see a pit of various just machines and sand and gravel and aggregate. Like this might be raw materials for basically 3D printing billets for making buildings and whatnot. This is like a driller for gathering materials or something.
This is industrial.
Yeah, it is industrial, quote unquote.
Printing. Yeah.
And there on the edge of the platform is a kind of a unmarked sack kind of thing. It's like a backpack. The backpack's got the insignia of the floating school on it. You recognize it from the letter that your sister got.
The hell? She's gonna move over towards this and prod it first with the pipe.
The backpack does not prod back.
Okay, cool. She's gonna lean down, open it up.
It suddenly latches to your face.
Yeah.
My face.
So I didn't tell you this, but mimics are a thing now.
Oh god!
No, so
I should have used Mage Hand.
You open the backpack up, and in there is a letter with the same insignia on it.
Is just a letter or anything else in the backpack?
The letter and there's some stuff down at the bottom too, jingling.
She's going to first things first. Grab, close the backpack, pick it up, and then look around. Anything else alerting her, ping-wise?
Do a body perceived difficulty 4.
Oh, okay. So let's see. That's difficulty 1. So D6. I don't think I can do this. Body perceived difficulty 4.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a body perceived of 1, so that puts me 3 below.
Yeah.
Which oh god, D4s. Plus D4. Oh, plus 2 to this.
No good.
Yeah. I don't. Hang on. Can
Dump
I put
all your focus into plus ones.
No, you
hang
put
on.
your exert as a bonus. So.
Yeah. So it's plus 2.
So
I've how much focus do I have? 1 second.
you can only pump
I have
plus 3 in focus. So that's a
okay.
maximum
I'm gonna
of 3.
re-roll
Mhm.
the D6.
It's 2 focus to do that.
It's 2 focus.
Yeah. Nice.
Shit.
Okay, good.
And then I have. No, I can't do it. I can't reach it.
You look around as thoroughly as you think you can. The place seems to be pretty empty. It's just this backpack.
Right. Well, in that case, she's going to grab the backpack and leave.
Okay. The letter, by the way, is closed currently, so you will have to open it to see its contents.
Nope, she's getting out of here before she does that.
You get outside. Do you want to try to put the door back on its hinge, or do you care?
Yeah, she'll very half-heartedly set it back in
Okay,
place.
so you try to put it back in. It doesn't really look like it's gotten out of it completely intact because you did have to shove a pole into it.
Yeah.
You get back down there and you were able to get another taxi back out of the place. You were mercifully untouched the whole way through. There was no more interface ping coming through, and once you get back into the main city, the game turns back on. You also have a email from your friend that you contacted ahead of time saying, "Hey, the maps aren't really saying that anything's happening back there. You might want to report that."
Right. She'll ignore that email for now. She'll read it and then okay, leaving it. And she's going to actually look through this backpack and the letter properly. Now she's in the car.
Okay. You will open the letter up. As you open the letter, you lift it open. Your hands are on the letter's surface. You hear that same piano tone again. This bing, bing, bing. But the last note becomes horribly distorted, and your arm jolts. It feels like you just shoved your finger into an electric socket.
The shit.
You pull it away, and as you look at the letter, there is a slight degree of smoke coming off of the surface of it, and you see your name and the filed area of the this invitation is to Sarah for attending Galen Academy.
She is going to be staring at this in bewilderment. And then she's going to start looking. Yeah, she's going to start looking online, see if this academy's holding any sort of event, crossover game.
You see nothing but various people associating that it's either a supremely cool face or like a supremely horrible place, depending on who you're looking at.
Let's see. Google. How do I know if invitation is legit?
There is a way to confirm that via an online check. So.
She will do that. We're fighting down that sort of hopeful apprehension, like don't get hopeful. This is clearly a prank or a joke.
As you look at the thing through using your Tilla as a scanner, it says congratulations on receiving your admissions letter, Sarah, and it seems to have all your stuff on it.
Holy shit.
The other contents of the backpack are all credit chits, unmarked, unnoted tubes of glass that are basically bills.
Holy shit!
On casual examination, because everything's barcoded kind of thing, you can see that the money in them has been actually set, like as you bring it up, a little pop-up AR thing says, "Are you ready to send payment to Galen Academy for tuition year 1?"
She, I think that takes her most of the day to actually do. Like, she'll probably head home and then spend the day going, what the fuck? What the fuck? Until finally caving in and going, yes, confirm.
Okay. It bottoms out the chits that are in there, and it takes all of them to do it, which it was totally usable to have that amount of money on a single one. So the only reason why there would be multiples is because it had to get parsed out in some way.
Yep.
So it already feels even weirder to be paying for it this way, but everything transfers. And you realize upon doing it that you get the little confirmation email. You just attended an elite academy that you have no idea how you get the invitation or the money for, and you have to kind of explain that to people.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. She'll spend a couple of days deliberating over that.
Okay. We'll get back to it. Who else we got? We still have Sam, and we still have Fox.
Well, the only reason why I haven't spoke up yet is I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this.
So, do you want more time?
No. Give me just a second to explain. Because my character kind of has a persona, and I don't know if I was gonna check should I be trying to keep her actual history, her family and her history, an actual secret, or should we just go ahead and reveal that?
Well, that's kind of up to you on how you want to do it. Like I'm
Well,
sure
it's,
that the characters can just, because nobody else is necessarily hearing the story, so people will just have to.
I know me and Sam are pretty good about not
Yeah,
acting on out of character information.
not getting into it, but presumably the any past attachments that the character is now attempting to dismiss, in most cases, the past attachments are what get you into the school. So how did you originally expect that she got into the academy? Was it someplace that she went to personally, or was it something she got invited into, or?
It's something that her parents actually arranged.
Okay, so it is related in some way to like her past situation.
I'll just I think it'd be easier for everything involved, especially considering the nature of how we have to arrange these games. If I just, don't try to do any reveals, because I think that's going to become a pain in the butt the more I think about it.
Okay. I mean, we can kind of bypass it if you don't want to, but
no, it's fine. Yeah. Like I've been thinking about it, throughout the time, and like trying to think of, should I try to push for this? Should I try to do a reveal kind of thing? And I think this is not the time or the place. And also, I remember that we never really tried to do these kind of reveals before a recent addition to our gaming group, so I'm just like kind of just like not go into that headspace. So my character is a young maned wolf, originally from Mars, and she is going to be in the academy because she's been put there by her parents, who are extremely big old money, rich from Mars.
Which is why she still goes by Maned Wolf instead of the official redocumented title of Leggy Dog, which was introduced in the early post-humanity ages.
Indeed. Yeah.
Stilt
Fox, I believe.
I think they call them sheer energy legs.
I was going to say, I think the current PC term is Stilt Fox.
Yes. Alright, go on.
That actually sounds like the opposite of a PC term. Now that I think about it. But...
Typical Stilt Fox being unsure about their name.
So, effectively, she grew up on Mars and spent most of her life on Mars until her parents moved to Venus, because their company essentially sent them to oversee the foundation of a new subsidiary. So they're just like, they're way up there.
Mm.
And so after doing her regular schooling in, a lower academy, they've decided that she needs to, that's not good enough, or they have too much money for her to be down there, so they've moved her into this one.
Or it might have been like, you can make them shareholders kind of thing if you wanted to. Like maybe they just have stake in because it's basically a for-profit school, right?
Right.
So they could just be like, this is where you're headed, be ready for it kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's an easy possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, obviously they've got her here expecting her to learn how to essentially do that upper management kind of stuff, like what they do. And she is secretly taking a bunch of courses in actually journalism and performance, because she's actually a lot more attracted to what her uncle does, which is be essentially an actor and party boy who just plays a CEO. And like a company face.
Yes.
Like a reverse Batman, kinda.
Reverse. You mean Man-Bat?
Wants to be the Elon Musk of the situation, I guess. Can I just go smoke pot on TV?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that this was I had a.
No, it's not like she doesn't want to, like work hard. She just doesn't want the responsibility of an entire company,
Right.
and just feels like she would be a lot happier in the performance sphere. And
So-
that's a performance sphere that's accessible to her without,
being the company CEO. So I assume that by the nature of this description that the projection is that she would eventually take over their jobs, or at least be employed in some degree as like a high up CEO in their company.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily tailoring her just because like that is expected of them, but there seems to be an actual position she's expected to fill.
Like, they're expecting that eventually there will be a place where they want her.
Okay. So that being said, and she presumably doesn't want to fill it, or
She
do the
actually would
things.
really like to, ideally, she actually wants to be a news anchor.
Fair enough. And also, your parents just flipped over in their graves. A news anchor. How dare you?
Yeah. Or an actress.
Yes. Why don't you just say you want to be unemployed? Okay, so there has been a lot of pressure, pretty much all through life. Are you an only child for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so there has been a lot of pressure pretty much all through life.
And
As you were
it was
the
this kind of situation where they barely had any, actual time for her. So
right, yeah. You were heir apparent, and it was always kind of expected that you were going to follow in the footsteps, not necessarily as an immediate successor, but that you were going to be of a high rank. And receive some degree of clout and formality in the business, which they all, as they do, figured was the best thing that they could do for their kid, was to guarantee them like the world's greatest income. And in fairness, it was pretty cool, because this was being tailored for an opportunity to make a great deal of money and basically live without ever having to fear poverty or anything else that went with it. But you had also seen that, as you were growing up, they had very little time for anything. They lived for the work, which to them wasn't so bad because they actually did live for the work. But it never really held anything for you. It was all just a bunch of numbers. There was nothing personal about it. Even the personal businesses and business dinners and parties and stuff like that were all just a bunch of acts. In fact, so much acting as the obedient daughter for the family had led to you being pretty talented at putting on acts and putting on shows and whatnot, which was a lot more fun. A, because you were good at it, and B, because it seemed so far divorced from what you were being tailored for. This was not a talent that they particularly supported in one way or another. I'm not going to say that they outright dismissed it, but it was more that they considered it, as many other things, to be sort of a phase you would grow out of when you recognized the sheer power associated with being really enormously stupid rich. So they that's a great play there, and now get back to your math kind of thing. They didn't really think that this was something worth paying much attention to, because eventually you'd just kind of get past it. And everything was going according to Kakaku. They sent you through beginning and intermediary, and as it came down to attending you finished up high school, and within like a day or two, the letter arrived in the mail. And you held it. It had been delivered by gold gilded Mechanoberto. I'm gonna say it's a Swallowtail. I think that'd be kind of fun as a robot. That flew it in here, and gave a curtsy bow and flew off again. And you were holding this golden ticket, and it was kind of the most empty thing you'd ever held. It was you knew this was coming 6 years ago. People were getting into high school, and you were like, okay, well, I guess when this is over, the next one starts. And here it is. Despite all various teenage rebellion, you are heading off directly down the next path that was set for them.
This is when the adventure goes off the rails. She rips it up, lights her hair on fire, and jumps out the nearest window.
One thing that you hadn't done yet is because it was such a done deal, you hadn't really looked into what was available for programs and what you were expected to do for each of them. And as you were sitting there doing the diligence as required to get into the school, it occurred to you that only the stuff that you were signed up for by virtue of your ticket, like this is the program you're going into, god damn it, only really took up about half your time. And the other half of it was dedicated to basically free purchase. Whatever you wanted to pay for, you could get into.
Yeah, I think that's when, things are going to start to come together for her, and she realizes that's essentially a blank check to pursue her own interests on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also where this overriding terror is going to come up, not about her family or her parents, but the other students, because there's a reason that this persona she creates comes up, and that is she doesn't want anyone to know who her family is, because she's afraid that they're going to just go, oh, it's another one of those rich kids who are just here because money, and dismiss her.
So, who did you have in your little NPC like friend document that is somebody that you think you would have known at this state? Anybody?
Actually, yeah. There is somebody. Give me just a second to open that document again. I closed it like a fool. Erin, actually, she knows from a previous store.
Erin's the luckiest motherfucker.
I bet. The thing is the reason. So he's actually somebody that she has spent her time avoiding, because he does know who she really is.
Okay. How did you know him?
They just went to the same school before being accepted here.
Okay, so it wasn't through the game or anything. It was you knew him through school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
but and that's so it's she didn't particularly know him very well. They didn't really have the same circles because I mean, he's a rich kid, but she's a rich kid.
There are limits, you peasant.
Yeah. Just like, yeah, go play with your little friends. I mean, in this borderline public school that only 10% of the population can afford to go to. But don't let us, catch you running around with those kind.
You recognize his name on the intro students because it's listed who's going to be coming in your year, and the list is not enormous. You only get like 100 some odd people that come in per season. So you see his name on there, and you've got contact information by virtue of going to the same school and stuff. So it occurs to you that there is somebody here that you may know or be able to communicate with. And not long later, you get a message on your toggle from him saying, "Hey, I saw you on the emission thing. Are you going up to Galen?"
I'll send him a message back that's just like, yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And he sends back, chortle emoji. Emoji technology has increased dramatically at this point. They can now chortle heartily or softly, depending on how dismissive they wish to be. And he goes, well, I mean, congratulations anyway. At least we'll have somebody up there that we know. I know a couple other names on here, though, if you wanted to meet a few people.
Like, I don't know if I'm going to be meeting any people.
And he sends back a why not.
It's like, I don't think I'm gonna... It's like, I think I don't know. It's just like that's what the message ends up being. It's just like all sketchy.
And he sends back a bemused / puzzled emoji, like they do. Those are your options: chortling, bemused, puzzled, light laughter, and penis. Those are the emojis that exist in the future. And sends back a message of like, "Are you worried or something? Like, I thought you kind of saw this coming."
I just okay. They're like, yeah, everybody saw this coming. That's the problem.
And he will send back a note saying, Are you worried that you're going to get prejudged or something? Like, this kind of is the rich kid's school. I don't think you're going to be the only one there.
It's like, look, I've kind of got a chance for a beginning of my own here. Why would I want to hang out with anybody from, before I had any kind of control?
And he goes, well, perfect. That's what everybody wants, right? I mean, we're all finally getting a chance to kind of make our own thing at this point. I'm going up. My friend Gus got in. He lives on basically 3 credits a week. Like, there's all sorts of cool people that are going to be up here. What are you so worried about not meeting people? This is your chance to meet people that you could never meet before.
I'll think about it.
I feel like that psychiatrist my character needs is going to be working extra.
They have a very busy job up there. And he says like this, well, maybe get in touch with me if you're looking to hang out with people that your parents would disapprove of. And basically signs off of the message system for it.
Jill immediately rolls her eyes, just like, yeah, that's what I want. Something that a decision I make because of my parents.
And leaves it alone essentially. And you are left to essentially ponder what you will be doing with the time up. But in the meantime, as you look over at your kind of itinerary for the first semester, you see that courses have been paid for kind of automatically up to whatever point you want to within the legal allotted credits. And you are free to kind of purchase as you will. And down in the options are things like media, theater, conversation, negotiation, various things that you have kind of pursued lightly in the past behind closed doors. You could now learn officially.
Well, that's very exciting.
And then you will fill this out.
So I have a number of characters in here, but most of them have relationship stuff or like post formation of the group.
Right. We'll hop into them. I'm just trying to figure out how everybody got here because it would be kind of fun to have the backstory. Okay. I thought.
That's fine. I'm just saying why I did more than I'm bringing up. It's just the rest of the stuff doesn't really fit in this preamble.
It's cool. Sam.
Yes.
Who are you? Who are you? Sam, damn it.
Who am I?
Who are you?
Who is Sam? Sam is playing a character who has recently changed her name legally. But her name is now Glitter, and just Glitter. It's like there's nothing else to it, just Glitter. But her name before is actually Gwyneth Port. She is the only daughter of Gregory and Persephone, and it's Gregory Port and Persephone Nevin. She has been growing up in a 2-corp household for a great many years, and there is a massive divide that has been separating her family. They actually live on Venus, so they're from this planet. Over the last 5 years, Gwyneth has been a point of contention and infighting between the parents. The parents originally met a great many years ago during a collaborative effort between TTI and ASR. She doesn't really know much about what her parents do because they don't talk about it at home. There was a falling out, and it got dirty. It got really dirty. Persephone started leaving little drones and various recording things around in Gwen's things when she would go to her father's. She started leaving malware and things like that in Gwyneth's toggle and her laptop, attempting to kind of track down anything that was going on and using it with lawsuits back and forth with the father. The father, of course, had counter lawsuits because of, corporate espionage, violations of privacy, things like that going back and forth. During this time, Gwen put on a lot of weight. She's a Hemi guinea pig vector, and weight was already going to be a predestined issue for her as a guinea pig vector.
As was cuteness.
But her dad is also a guinea pig. Her mother is a rabbit vector, and very athletic. There's a reason Dad fell for her. Unfortunately, it became a bad point of contention because her father loves her very much, but her mother was using her kind of as a power play. She was kind of mentally abused and socially abused to try and get back at each other at various points, and both parents were at fault at different points. And Gwen kind of shut herself down and shut herself away. She spent the last about 5 years mostly being indoors, playing with her laptop, socializing vaguely, being a griefer on forums, those kind of things. She was comic book guy on a lot of places. No, I think you'll find that Superman was never that cool, but
Nice.
She was started battling depression, had a lot of issues with it, and she wasn't doing very well. Even though she comes from a very wealthy family, both parents are actually very well off. She didn't really have a lot of prospects because she wasn't getting out there. She kind of was shutting down, and when time came for her to graduate, she was at the time living with her mom, and her mom supplied her with enough money to get an apartment and get out and go do her own thing, and she kind of did, but luckily her therapist, air quote therapist, her school counselor from her previous school realized that she was an at-risk person and got her in touch with a therapist from Progenitus. They turned her life around, they've changed her identity, they've gotten her out there. She's a very shy person, but she's trying really hard to be anything but herself anymore. She's got bright color clothes on. She's trying to join clubs. She's trying to get into doing athletic stuff. Her best friend is I think Cree.
Yeah.
I think that's her name, Cree. And they've known each other for a couple years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you know how in the training programs and the breeding programs for cheetahs, they assign them a golden retriever to be their buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is a lovebird named Cree,
Yes.
who was assigned to you by the counselor, saying this is a person who is generally happy and outgoing, and
Yes.
would love to make a friend.
and one of the things that got going with Cree was they have this joking thing of, she always says is Cree's her accountability buddy, because that's how it was originally introduced, and she's supposed to help Cree with some of her anxiety and keeping calm kind of stuff, but they get together regularly. They have corny movie nights where they sit up and watch the same movies that Cree loves, And the sad thing is Gwen really likes scary movies, so she tries to get that in there sometimes. But at least they can turn it off and stop if it gets too much for Cree. But
Cree will enjoy said films, but spends most of them hiding under a blanket. She still stays
Yes.
there to be. I'm watching the movie. I swear, I'm under the blanket.
well, we keep the lights on. We keep the lights on, and during the scary parts, I turn the volume down. So it's not as much, so it gets a little bit easier. And then we do that. She has regular contact with her father, but she doesn't remember it. Due to the hijinks of her mother, they have instituted a system between the two of them. She loves her dad very much. But she goes to a karaoke bar. Because I'm like stealing that from Arezzo, whatever that freaking yeah, that thing. Except instead of actually going in there and singing in the karaoke suite, she has a spare toggle and she calls her dad on it. And she takes a pill about 5 minutes into the call. Well, she takes it at the beginning of the call, and they talk for about 5 minutes before it kicks in. And that way, if her mom asks her anything, she won't slip up.
So does she have regular contact with her mother then?
She has not had contact with her mother since she moved out. Her mom's kind of bailed. But she's just being careful. This is something Dad came up with.
Okay, so he does know that it's happening.
Yeah, he knows that it's happening. It was actually something they started doing while she was still living with her mom.
Mm.
And basically every couple months she would buy a new crap toggle and start using that to call her dad and then throw it out. So, and she wouldn't take it, as a usual toggle and give out the number. She was being very kind of careful about it. She's really into science. She's really into medical. She was always into that stuff in school. And her parents are kind of wealthy, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what gets her in.
Okay. Did you want to arrange some other means of getting in? Like, we can do it through another talent or something if you want to, or you can just kind of go the world.
She's really good at, remembering science stuff. I have a lot of perks for remembering just facts and shit like that, so she's really good at retaining things. So I have, I read this once and all that stuff where I get mind perceives and bonuses and crazy. So she is definitely a huge bookworm, and she probably had really good marks. So she was doing well in school, but she was doing bad emotionally.
Okay.
So
one night you were basically at you're at your home. You said you had an apartment, basically, right?
Yeah, it's not a great apartment, but she, got something that's going to last for a month or two.
Right. I'm going to say that Cree's a roommate.
Yeah.
Because she got sitting there as the accountability buddy. It has been very well. Cree is a very friendly person who is very supportive on the stuff. She just kind of lacks a degree of spine.
Yeah.
You have discovered that while she often has some very fun ideas, pursuing them is not a really great. Like, she'll get halfway through the beginning of it and just kind of assume it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm. She fears failure, so she just assumes it's happening.
Yeah, she's just gonna
stop
figure
before she puts
it's not going to happen, which is a shame because there's a lot of promise in her. She always did she scored very well on tests. She's quite adept.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to, all the things she starts out with, they seem to begin pretty well. She just kind of figures, if I were going to be any good at this, I would already be the best at this. Because that makes a whole lot of sense, and for some reason humans are all wired to think that way, and we don't know why.
Yeah. Shake fist at random entities and thoughts.
Yeah, kind of thing. But she has tried and subsequently untried many a thing. So most of Cree's hangout and movie night consists of either watching movies that are exciting enough that she's super into I'm gonna say
I figured she was big into romantic comedies.
Or nerdy I don't know, samurai film kind of thing. Like I would say like really, really, really cheesy over the top kung fu action film. It's probably big on her list as well.
Okay.
The rom-com just kind of in general because it's designed to please. But she also seems to have a taste for the scary stuff. Like she likes it, she just can't watch any of it. So you have created.
That's why we try to watch it together. It's just
Yeah. You've created closed captioning for the spine impaired. Which consists of she is under a blanket and is sitting there on the couch, and you narrate the scene to her.
Yes.
Which is basically what's happening. What's happening? No, don't
I
tell
need
me
to
what's
know,
happening.
But I can't look.
To what's happening. And that seems to serve as more or less watching the movie. Which gives remarkable recall of the overall experience, which is just what you come to expect. But recently, she's popped up with something kind of new, which was watching kind of spooky found footage films and stuff like that. And you two tonight, Bono included, are hanging out to watch this new thing that she found on the space tubes or the U spaces. And it starts off with this really neat-looking intro, just this high-energy intro, with this rather attractive-looking fellow who had a species that I can't recall at the moment. Just a second.
It was a vector. What? Or was it a cog?
No, Nathan was a tiger. There we go. So there's this, attractive-looking tiger of roughly your age, who's on the, close up on the camera and fluttering light with a little, dark back behind it going, you want to hear a ghost story, and it flashes into all kinds of neat editing, and there's the kind of action sequences, and it catches you. It's an intro. It's just an intro to a show, but it already catches your eye as something that is rather tightly edited. Like the camera angles are nice. There's good vision behind it. It's a solid kind of beginning with fun kind of campy music and has an edge of actual intensity to it without just being completely over the top. And Creed's like, okay, so I found this, and this is actually this is a local group. These guys, they go around and they kind of look at things like scary places.
Wouldn't that be so cool to get to go do that?
Well, so that's what I'm talking about, right? Like here, check. I couldn't watch most of this one or this one.
Okay,
I hear this one's really
I'm just
good.
gonna cover her eyes. Okay, let me see. Oh my. Okay. Oh god, they're screaming. Okay.
Yeah, no. So there's a lot of screaming.
Whoa.
They got the one screamer there, and the
What
other
are they
one,
running from?
Ghosts. So so the idea is that there are places in town that are kind of haunted. They've been there for a long time or something, or people have died in them or something like that. Bad stuff happened. Somebody lost a whole lot of money and couldn't take it, and jumped and didn't flap, like they do.
Oh man, don't you have to spread garlic all over the place in those places to make it okay again?
What, for flying? No. Oh, for the haunting. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought I'd look into it.
Wasn't that like Dead White's 9 Reckoning? Remember?
Yes. Well, I mean, that was a
that.
specific haunting involving the vampire, and that was more of a cryptid situation.
It was also kind of a weird romance with that zombie. What was up with that?
I don't know. I mean,
things
I only
kept falling off.
Secondhand.
Yeah.
You described it. Don't remind me. Okay. Oh, you.
Okay.
You. So flap her feathers and fluff a little bit. At this moment, she is actually a little fluffier than you are, which is something that has been brought up a few times over. And she swears that she will lose weight upon learning to fly, which is something that she should have done years ago, but she's afraid of heights.
And one thing to be clear on, Gwen has done everything she can to try to clear up any images and things like that of her fatter self, as it were. She is trying to erase that off the internet, but you never really do. No matter what you try, you never really do. But she's trying as hard as you can.
Yeah, and she is attempting to assist you. And she is super envious and proud. It's like she wants to. She often gets disappointed that you don't want to talk about it because she
the freaking sugar frosted butterballs around when we have freaking Night's hard.
Which yes, popcorn now has the code name of celery stick. So she will occasionally eat popcorn under the blanket, and when you say, what are you eating, it's immediately celery stick. Celery stick. So she goes anyway. So they did it like I couldn't, and I didn't want to watch that one. I didn't watch that one because they want to scream a lot. Sometimes they bring in a psychic, which is kind of like it's funny in a thing that they watch. But yeah, so
I
there's
didn't
there's
actually
stuff.
know that was actually a thing. I thought they just did that for movies.
Well, so I think it is not, in fact, a thing. But they make it look like a thing, which is the fun part, right? The point is, look, 4 million
Let's
views.
look it up on Spreadit.
Spreadit,
wait,
Spreadit is a very different
what did you
site.
just do?
Do not look it up on Spreadit.
Yeah.
So. Oh,
Fred's
God.
actually a website for Gus's firing robot.
Yes. There's a very big difference between Spreadit.com and Spreadit.net. Like, you will regret the decision going to one or the other.
One of them's a pay site.
For every penny you put in, the robot will spread it.
Yeah.
It's just like going through buttered toast. She goes, but anyway, this one, I found this video, right? This one right here, and I watched this one. I watched this one through. You know why?
You watched it the whole
I did.
way?
I watched the whole thing, and it's because I've been here. Look, and she turns it on, and they're going through
that place isn't haunted.
a very creepy building. Well, that's the thing, right? So I used to go here with my brother when we were kids, and like look at this part here, and she scrubs over to a point on it, and they're sitting there in the dark, you know, with various sensors and stuff going. Okay, shh, hear that? Great. What did that? I think there was something down the hall. Like they do all the stuff for it. And she goes, so that creak? I mean, that's a pole outside. I know that creak. You used to be able to time it. It went off every 3 minutes when the subway was going through. Like, there's nothing haunted about this. But they I know this room that we're in. There used to be a hollow projector on this wall back when this was a building that was actually being used. I didn't know it was so dilapidated. Man. It's kind of sad actually. But the point is, like they make it look really haunted, and all it is good editing and like people looking scared, and I look scared like every day. Like every day I look scared. So what if
I know, like you make me think like when I'm watching a movie, like you're there.
I mean,
you should be an actress. You know, there's like a whole bunch of girls that get so much money. All they have to do is run away from something they think they see.
I could do that part.
I know.
I think I see things all the time.
You just gotta fall down a lot. You'd be great.
Okay, that's enough. It's getting a little personal now.
What? No, I'm saying you wouldn't have to like you just how they do that thing where their clothes like start like getting torn up and they keep falling down.
Who wants to see me tear my clothes?
There's a lot of guys that would do that.
Oh, I mean,
and a bunch of girls too, actually.
I don't want them to tear my clothes. They're nice clothes. Anyway, the point is, you could also be. We could do a thing.
Nobody
like
wants
this,
to see me do that.
To do a thing to go up to it. Like I was totally thinking we could do this or try to do this.
We could do this.
Or we'd have to find some people and stuff. Everybody's going off to college and now, huh? Did you think about that? What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, I was like, I mean, there's probably some work I can do, right? Like, I did pretty good on my marks. I mean,
well, yeah, you could probably get into a bunch of different places.
I was thinking like I could get into like maybe like medical waste removal or something like that because I did really good in like the sciences and that. And
you're really good at removing waste.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the most glamorous job, but I mean, I hear they pay for it pretty good, and I mean, it's regular work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe you'll see a dead body.
Yeah, or maybe you can avoid the dead bodies. I mean, or we can make a dead body for a video, like out of paper mache.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, I was gonna say that went dark.
Oh no! I didn't mean that. Stop! I will throw a celery stick at you.
Okay, well, but yeah, I mean, if we could find some people, I don't know anybody. You know, I don't know anybody.
Well, you kind of. I mean,
I started doing that jogging thing, but I don't think the people that I jog with are really into that.
She will cautiously pull out something from one of the drawers in the cabinet and put it on the table, and it's the golden envelope from Galen up there, and she looks up at you.
Oh my God, what is that?
I kind of.
Is that a real piece of paper?
It is. It's genuine, and you should see how it got
Holy crap,
here.
where'd you get that printed at?
I didn't. It's an invitation from Galen University, actually.
Oh man, are you gonna go?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I totally am because I didn't.
Oh
I
my
didn't
god,
know
we
I
should
was gonna-
celebrate! Oh my god! Oh my
We
god,
should.
who can we call? We should go celebrate.
We should. I was just. So listen. Do you want to go?
I don't have an invitation. That's not how that works.
Well, it kind of could be. So I got this actually from. We should pick a therapist name. Do you want to pick one? Do you have any who was?
Dr. Terwilliger.
Dr. Chilwilliger?
Terwilliger.
Terwilliger. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got this actually from Dr. Terwilliger.
Dr. Evil. Everyone else pronounces it evil. So, no,
No,
Evil.
it's Evil. God damn it! I'm a nice person.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they because I had helped out with I mean, I didn't even really think I was doing anything, but all of my work with kind of the partner programs and stuff.
Yeah, you're like the best accountability buddy.
I
Seriously.
do try to
I
be
know.
a buddy that I don't know about the accountable really because I did totally spend more money than I needed to this week, which I am super sorry about.
That's okay.
But I will find a way to get more, I guess.
We're
will.
doing fine.
We're good.
It's okay.
We will, but I there were shoes, and
I know,
my
and,
feet
like,
are
I mean,
clawed and
I
don't
mean,
fit
now
in
that like
regular
I'm
shoes.
into like, I mean, if you didn't tell me like how these things went together, I mean, you know what I used to dress like. Oh my god,
I do in fact
I know that was.
that, and it was a little tragic. But
I
you know
mean,
what?
there
We have
was
moved on
a
from
there's a
that
reason
time.
that they call that dumpster pandas.
That
So
is
look.
a really derogatory term toward.
I
those
know
pandas.
it's a very horrible word, but you know what I mean, though. It's
I
like that
do.
new age
I'm not gonna
grunge
pretend that I
thing,
don't.
and it's just, yeah. I
Um,
mean, like, I think I had the same T-shirt on for like 8 years.
It was a cute shirt, and I'm
It-
not going to
it
make you
was.
think that it wasn't. But you
And
did need a second
it's just
one.
that the logo was very faded, though, and to the
It
non-existent.
had a logo. It did have a logo.
Yeah, it did have a logo.
Oh no. Okay, maybe 3 or 4 of those shirts would have been needed.
Yeah.
I got it because of that, and I know she actually can get another. But there's just kind of a process you'd have to go through if you wanted to go through the process, I think.
What's the process?
Well, so like I got it because I had helped a lot of people, but you could also you can kind of
haven't
get it by
helped
being
anybody.
somebody who was able to benefit from it. Like somebody who actually put through the effort, because it is all all I can do is kind of say like eat more celery, while I eat popcorn in the blanket or something like that, which I know that's a naughty word, but I did. But
Oh my God, we had a trust.
you did
You've made
the
it
stuff.
3 days.
You
3
did the
days.
stuff. No, don't focus on me. This is about you. You did the stuff, and you really, I mean, you fixed it, and it's an opportunity for growth. Like I think you're actually the sort of thing she's looking for the other ticket. You would just have to go in there and kind of prove your case.
I don't know. I mean,
I would go with you, and
You would?
root from you from behind the door because they probably wouldn't let me in.
oh, that is less reassuring.
I will be pressed against the glass.
All right, as long as you're pressed. Why is there glass?
I
My God, they would have me meet in the freaking conferencing room. Oh my God, that
That
would
is
be
her
so
office.
embarrassing. What if they like say no? I will cry and everyone will see.
That might help.
She just stares aghast.
You should do it. You should do it. You should do it so that I'm not stuck there all alone. Also, you should do it because it's good for you.
Okay. I'll do it because I haven't got anything. I mean, what do I? It's like the therapist say, right? Like, what do I have to lose right now if I don't put myself out there? I'm just not doing anything.
Pretty well. I mean, that's so
Otherwise,
good,
I'm
but
just
you
giving
did
up,
do
right?
a big thing, and you continue to do big things. You have proven you have the drive. She says, shaking you violently.
Okay, well, let's go drive crazy, right?
Yes,
But you know what? We celebrate
we do
because
today.
you know what? You're going, and that's the best thing in the whole wide world.
But we will celebrate even more so when you are going.
Yeah, but we'll have 2 celebrations.
Yes.
So we celebrate tonight, and if I get it, we celebrate again.
Yes. Double celebrations. Come.
Yes.
Let us
Come.
proceed.
Yes. You know what we can do? We're gonna go to the yogurt place.
Oh.
Yep.
The one that is by the not yogurt place that sells
Yes,
the better
the one that's
stuff.
yes, and we're gonna get you the not yogurt. Okay.
No, I will have the yogurt.
Yes, but you can at least have sprinkles and syrup.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's go.
She will go down and says, I am going to fly off the 5th step. I'm going to fly off the 3rd step. Here we go. And she jumps basically off the 3rd step. Yes, good. We are ready. And we'll proceed.
Hey, that is
in
so much
direction.
better than what I can do. I can't even do that.
I mean, that I literally just jumped off the 3rd step and opened my arms, but you can do it.
That's still great though. I can't do that.
Thank you.
I
I
would
was very
break a
impressed with
leg.
myself. See, I did fine, and then she falls over as she's turning around trying to show her leg.
You know, I mean, like the one thing is like, isn't that place like really high up?
No, she lies blatantly, looking up at the
I
thing.
kind of have that nervous look and bite the bottom lip. You know how I feel about heights. It's not going to be like really high, is it?
No.
Blatant lying.
It is literally like hovering above you. So you go through it, and in the interest of not focusing the scene for too long, I'm going to say that you were able to argue your case fairly successfully, because they were looking for somebody who has proven drive. And she says, I think you're up for it. It's just what you're going to have to do now. Your big challenge at this point is when you get up there, you need to decide where you're going. Because just being there isn't enough, and you've already conquered one demon, so it's time to find a new one and kick its ass.
Mm-hmm.
And before too long, thou shalt arrive with a golden ticket.
Yep.
The money, however, is not provided. So
I'm assuming that I can call my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad can probably help. Because like I said, my parents are actually fairly wealthy.
Yeah.
It's just that there's been a lot of...
So your
drama.
conversations with him going forward may consist of things that are school related or whatnot, since he is footing the bill for this part.
Yeah, and like I said, I usually can get like the first probably 5 to 10 minutes of the conversation. She can remember. It's just after that the pill takes in. So probably. So she usually has that first part of, hey, are you? She doesn't want to take the pill until she knows her dad has answered.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was a really awkward night where she didn't remember she called him.
Very peculiar.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to go to the restroom since we are all set with folks, and then we will proceed to day 1. BRB.
John.
What?
So this whole time, Cryptid has been sitting in here next to me?
Yeah. After
And
she hopped down from up here.
Yeah, she's got one of your socks.
Aww.
And she's been playing with it and rubbing her head against it like a little weirdo.
Aw, my little familiar. She loves me.
Apparently, she likes your socks. So how's everybody doing tonight?
I live again.
Sweet.
I'm doing okay.
Glad to hear it.
I'm hungry.
Also nice to meet you.
Oh, yes, nice to meet you. I've heard a few things about you over the course of like hearing about the different games.
Hopefully not that all that I'm annoying. Oh shoot, I
No,
just found
no,
a way
just
better dancing gif. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's just normal stuff like they did this horrible thing happened, etc.
Literally died in a fire, crashed a car into a lamppost, that kind of thing.
I feel like a lot of my car crashes were attributable to being set up for failure.
Was it something like you were driving in the dark
Without a
on
light.
streets that were crowded with debris?
Yeah, listen.
You know, the bad vehicle.
See all of these,
And
all of
with
these factors.
little
being
experience
enforced.
driving.
It's not my fault. All these factors were enforced. What was I supposed to do?
It's not that it wasn't actually a difficult thing to do, and I was driving really fast.
Like really fast.
Yeah. And don't worry, guys, we might also turn our headlights off at one point, because we're trying to not let the other gang see us. This is why John is not my character's accountability buddy.
There's no self-control there. There is only joy. I found somebody animated Snape doing the caramel dance.
Okay, return.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I was just sitting here
Hello.
thinking about what a silly series of words the caramel dance is.
It is fair.
Considering caramel dancing literally means the caramel dance.
The Labre Tar Pits means the Tartar Pits. I mean,
That's true.
just wanted to like toss that out there for a random factoid, I suppose.
The Sahara Desert means the desert.
Well, it is a pretty deserty desert.
It's things don't get much more desert.
Of the deserts available, that one's the most
My-
deserty I can think of.
My favourite Star Trek is the TOS series.
Yes, the TOS series is definitely the best of the Star Treks. Alright, we got everybody?
John is doing a combination of stealing other people who live here's cookies and bringing me cough syrup, which
Nice.
is two things I approve of.
Guaranteed to knock you out at any given point.
I call it forget-me-nows.
I need to come up with a hotkey for like this face rig that makes it do various deadpan things. Because right now it just kind of sits here wiggling.
There's a face rig.
Yeah, it's on the stream.
Oh, I forgot to link.
For the sake of my audio quality, I'm not doing this and streaming at the same time. My brother's in the next room watching like a bunch of stuff on Netflix, so I just don't trust it.
Wait, how does one
Makes
watch a
sense.
bunch of stuff at once on Netflix?
Phone
It's
and
quite
TV.
easy.
There's a level of multitasking that just gets a little excessive.
He's not actually doing two things at once. It's just, if he's on his phone's set to that absurd bit rate. It's like, oh, you just take all the bandwidth and take it and put it in this box and keep it and let everyone else in your house starve.
Fair.
Nari, you can't eat the bandwidth. Not like that.
Tell that to the Netflix app.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
I'll come back. Alright, so before we move on to like actual arrival day, is there anything else anybody wanted to do on the ground level?
I can't think of anything I need to do.
That's a negative for me. Good buddy.
We have a couple little plot points to figure out before you ascend. Like, Allie, what did your character end up telling her family about how she got the stuff?
She got into a film and media course by submitting a script about somebody that sneaks into a abandoned area and finds something spooky that grants them a fucking golden ticket.
They thought it was the greatest plot point ever, and it was absolutely genius, and it's worth millions.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
And not only that, the contest also let her win a full ride for a year.
Yeah. It was a damn good contest.
Yeah. Don't try and look it up.
Yeah. They were definitely skeptical, but upon checking the ticket, they were like, "Wow, good on you." They appear to be, stunned in disbelief all the way to the point of you actually leaving on the shuttle, because it is like they don't see the contest anywhere. But
don't worry, so am I.
Both parties have the same facial expression with the exchanges.
Okay, so shuttles will be individual, because there actually aren't a whole lot to go up. So you have a scheduled time where you will be going in, and if you have people in the same neighborhood, you can actually get on together, but you are kind of entitled to your own ride if you wish it. You don't fly your own ships up. You are saying goodbye to family members on the street level, because once you step into the Silver Chariot, it is time for ascension.
Now, would my sister have gone ahead already, or am I going up with her?
You can kind of choose. You guys can stagger dates, or because you're in the same household, they give you the option if you want to, go at the same time. The same Gus is in the same boat because he's registered to Star's address, or not Star's address, but Aaron's address as his place to receive mail. So they say if you guys want to go up together, you can go up together. Otherwise, you can go up separately.
Let's roll the dice. Roll high. Go with. Roll low. Go separate. Go with.
But it's very close. She seems kind of happy that you're going with her. As you get into the shuttle, this is one of the few times that you've actually been with her, kind of on just the two of you in a little while, because you don't really go out to the same places or anything like that. And the ride is going to be quick because it's just above the city and you're in a flying vehicle and stuff like that. But you sit there for a minute or so, kind of excited. And you both have the kind of excitement, thing to one was like, yeah, we're going to a cool place. And then she says, shortly after takeoff, I'm glad you came or could come, or I didn't think you were going to be able to. Not that I didn't think, but I didn't think, and I'm glad you're coming.
No, don't worry, I didn't think so either.
That's really neat. Can I see your script sometime?
Sure. There's they've got a little bit of a holding period on it. You know how schools are now linked up with corps. They might want rights and all that jazz.
Well, I didn't even know it was a thing that I feel kind of. I've been making all these movies, and I didn't even know if you could write a script.
It was I'd never really tried before. It was kind of spur of the moment, me. Always trying something new.
First try.
Well, not first try, but few scrapped ones,
Yeah.
It's recent.
Well, maybe we can like do something
Stop,
with them.
collaborate, and listen. That'll be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, yeah.
Are you doing any of the media classes or anything?
Yeah, they looked really easy. I mean, what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, we'll probably have some of the same ones, I guess.
yeah.
She's got a little of like she seems to be positive about the situation, but a lot of this is hitting her completely out of left field. Like she never thought she wanted anything to do with this.
Yep.
And suddenly there's this full ride that's come from a script that you produced from nowhere, and she's not really sure how to take it. It could be there's your little sibling jealousy sensors are tingling. Like perhaps I have won over her again. Because she has certainly had more than one attempt to
Hey.
produce reviews. Yeah.
Hey, if I told you something that was crazy, would you like give it fault rather than going, no, that's crazy?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on the level of crazy, I guess.
Like it might be more believable than this.
Oh. Wait, do you mean that, like...
I mean, this is happening. I have a ticket.
Yeah. You
But-
didn't,
Like, I found it?
you found a ticket with your name on it?
Well, it didn't have my name on it until I touched it, and then it sapped me. Like, okay, just follow, my game's right.
Yeah.
So, like, I got a ping, like, way out of town. And it's like, hey, rare item, I followed it. And then it took me into, like, an out-of-bounds area,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it was still displaying his ping, go get it. And then I found a backpack, and it had a golden letter in it, and, like, tuition. And, like, okay, so that's crazy, right? But that kind of happens, sometimes schools collaborate with games, or companies collaborate, and so on and so forth. But there's, like, no information about that anywhere.
And this is the script that got you in?
Well, no, this is what I'm basing that script on, because I haven't really written that yet.
Wait, so... You mean you actually, like, went downtown and found a backpack with a golden ticket in it that had your name on it?
Yeah, like, legitimately, that's what happened.
I'm not even really sure how to take that.
And there were, like, these weird notes, like, do, and all this. It was weird, it was funky.
Let me see your ticket.
Fine, look, here's my ticket. Look, it's real. It's real. I have double checked. I have tripled. I spent ages checking this to make sure it was real.
Sarah, did you, like, allow someone to contact you in a way that may be considered inappropriate so that you could acquire a ticket?
No, I did not hold myself out for this. This was a legitimate, weird find.
I mean, it costs thousands of credits to get into this for a year. You just found... Who do the credits belong to?
Don't know. They were just keyed up, all ready to go. I scanned them and it just asked for confirmation.
Do you think you were hacked?
Who would hack me to do that? Who does that?
Who really wants somebody to go to this school?
Well, if so, I guess they're one of the nicest hackers ever.
I hope so. Now I'm kind of worried. And she leans back a little bit. I mean, I mean, for a random act of, like, serendipity or even, being a nice person. There's a word for this. It's just totally skipping my head right now. She says aloud.
A philanthropist?
Yes, that one. A philanthropist, right.
Yeah. I had trouble saying that.
The philanthropist is not my favorite creature. It's a fish that really just wants everybody to do well. Tosses random money at them. Like there's to not have any degree of accountability on it. I don't know.
I know it's weird. It might be kind of skeevy, but like I couldn't pass it up,
No, I guess not.
But please don't tell Mum and Dad, because they will probably worry a lot.
I'm worried a lot.
I know you're worried a lot, and I'm sorry for making you worry a lot. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. But can I said anything?
No, I mean, I guess watch out, okay? Like, watch the corners and stuff, and let me know if it happens again, because if you've been hacked and somebody's setting you up for something, it's gotta be really weird. Because it's really expensive.
she she does the horrible thing of like tapping her utility. Like, do you reckon I should get this checked out?
I reckon you should stop touching it. Like
Why?
in front of
It's
me.
fine. I don't feel it. Look.
No, stop. Oh, I hate that. And right about then, it'll actually arrive at the top, and she says, "Okay, yeah. I mean, don't check it here, because like if they discover it, they're gonna kick you directly out. But maybe have somebody check it, maybe during vacation day or something."
Yeah. Okay. Oh, also, by the way, could you like help me with this whole film and media course thing? Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh my god. I will see what I can do. And she will go off to her line or something.
Yep.
Next up, Gus, you are going up with Aaron heading upward.
Okay.
Also, your pronunciation that is bugging me, Svi.
What?
So much.
Is it?
It sounds like you're saying Erin.
I mean, isn't it? I mean,
My character.
yeah. It's Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Isn't it Aaron?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said Erin.
Wait, you're saying the same word twice.
I'm not saying this. I am saying it distinctly different. Everyone's saying that different, right?
What are you guys saying? Say it real quick.
There's Erin and Aaron.
Yeah, one sounds like Aaron, the other one sounds like Aaron.
You just said the same thing twice.
Oh no, I did that.
You're just kind of rolling the vowels around here.
Yeah, maybe it's Aaron.
Like
Well, we can go
Aaron.
with Aaron, I guess. Aran.
No, it's acceptable. It's just triggering me a bit. It's like, wait.
Hang on. His last name is. I forgot about this. There we go.
Aaron Elfie.
No, it's Aran. So far away.
Oh, God.
Why? All right. So you and Aran get up.
Is it appropriate after learning his last name to try to crash the ship?
I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
The shortest game ever.
Gus, did you want your own boat into the skies, or did you want to travel with somebody?
Oh, I want to go with Aaron.
Okay. So he will get in there, and he is super stoked. Like, this is going to be one long frickin' sleepover party. Also, he had to load his whole rig into it, which, it's the far future, so the rig is about the size of a hockey puck. But like, I mean, he doesn't like to move it because it might not be in the same place anymore.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you have a robot that carries yours around.
Yeah.
You actually, in all of your assorted robots, you don't have a fraction of the processing power consistent in his basic PC that he's got in his hockey puck.
Yeah.
This one over here is powered by a TI-86.
I found some batteries in the trash.
They didn't work, but I charged them. So he goes, all right, so we're going, dude. We made it. I mean, this is so cool. We're gonna fly. I haven't even been up to this place before. Have you been up to this place? You probably haven't, have you? I'm guessing you haven't.
No.
All
No,
right.
I don't. I've never even been in one of these.
Did you look at the brochure? Did you pick any
There was
classes?
a brochure. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't think about it.
You haven't signed up for anything, have you?
No.
Gus, we are in the big leagues. Gus, you gotta focus, man. He's
Oh,
grabbing
God,
you by the
shit.
shoulders. He's going, okay, you gotta figure out classes like yesterday. Hang on. And he taps on the smart glass on the side here and brings up the website. You need stuff. You need basics. Okay, we're gonna put basics on here. You should probably take something with Professor Gann, because we sponsored you, and that's kind of important.
Yeah.
No, you're signed up for that. Okay, cool. You should get something. I don't know. There's intro to robotics. Are you past intro to robotics? What do you do in intro to robotics? Hang on, read this. It appears to consist of things that are somewhat more advanced, but less complicated than what you had already made. Like, how to make an adequate, AI for a drone or something like that. But said AI will do silly, paltry things like navigate without hitting walls and, assume what its task is, as opposed to amazingly more complex things like properly butter bread.
I'm like, well, I can do that. I need that class. Yeah,
Okay,
sign me up for that
So
one.
put that in, and maybe put in this one. And I don't know, how are you at dance?
Dance?
It's on here. I don't know. There's a one here. Dance or something like that.
I'll take it. I don't mind. I like learning new things.
Fair enough. This chemistry. This is all kind of sciencey engineering stuff. You need something a little simpler. Physical education. Oh,
No.
are you
No.
are you certain? Because like you gotta get it. I mean, we talked about push-ups, Gus.
Okay. Put me down for PE.
Yeah. Okay. Then you need to attend it. Right. There's
I will
signing up
go.
for it and showing up.
I've got a pair of shorts and everything.
Okay. Were they yours? Did you find a pair of shorts or did you pick up
I
a pair of
found a
shorts?
pair of shorts. They're in good condition.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put like some time for maybe picking out clothing at some point in here. Did you get the uniform, by the way?
Yeah.
Guess that
Yeah.
doesn't
I
fit
did.
you.
I did. I scraped up enough for that. Yeah.
Okay. Did you get it tailored? Like, does it fit you, or is it just?
It's a little big. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, oh wow, that sleeve is like past. Okay, so maybe we find somebody who can do something about that. Okay,
Gonna,
well,
like,
I mean, this
flap
is going to be the
this one.
snappiest you've looked for a while. That's cool. All right, electives. You've got stuff that you can pick for that.
Okay. I want something. I want something. Oh. With not a lot of reading, but it's still fun.
Well, there's game theory. I'm totally taking
Game
that.
theory. I want to do game theory.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff in that. There's the media course. Everybody kind of takes the media course. It's sort of like the learn to do fun things and not have to get graded really hard for it course.
Literally why I took it in real life.
But I mean, I'm not going to say that I have a master's in multimedia, but I do actually have a master's in multimedia.
Actually, my major is both. Like, my focus is on video production and game design.
So they sign you up for that. Okay, well, I'm in that, and I'm sure a lot of people will be on that. So we got that.
See,
Okay.
I did robotics, and everybody in my class also took the media courses. Yeah, we got to watch Indiana Jones. It was a class project.
Nice. I did the multimedia course, so we got to watch a flip book of Indiana Jones. We didn't. Okay, fine. Call me on my joke. Fine. So it gets you all signed up for that one as it's going up and submits it. Okay, that's only just like a little bit late. Hopefully that'll be fine. Hey, did you see these? There's like some elective lectures that you can do for weird stuff. Actually, Professor Gen's got one. There's something here for like illegal bioprobe manufacture and like cryptid flesh development and stuff. This is kind of neat.
Flesh development. That sounds cool.
Hang on, I'm looking at it. So it's basically things that were made in breakthroughs for biodesign throughout history that were, should never have been made because they were really awful. That's super cool. I want to go do that. I hope it's not all viruses. Viruses are really boring.
Yeah. Yay.
There's one for robots. There's one for like horrible robots that should never have been made. This is awesome. Why are they all
that
taught by
sounds fun.
Denise again? Hang
I
on.
may have to take that next semester. I don't know if I've heard my schedule for it.
I think he's kind of into this stuff. I never knew that. Look, there's like 3 of them by him that are all kind of like on this like weird shit that never should have been built kick.
Ooh.
What is this weird foods that should never be made?
There were foods that should have never been made.
The awkward moment
One,
was just the
cauliflower.
slideshow of all the Gus's robots.
That's the slide of behold this butter producing robot that should never have been built.
It just spreads peanut butter on squid.
There is a class of mechanical morality, and the
also a
generation
class-
of AIs that are not too aware, kind of thing, and stuff like that. So there are some
Ooh,
interesting ones to
so
get in.
fun.
I like to think that there's a class on the sandwich pyramid. Is this a sandwich?
Yes.
Fucking sandwich alignment chart. Fucking fights breaking out in that class every day.
Yeah.
People throwing sandwiches across each other. Somebody throws a hot dog. What the fuck do you think that was?
They can throw a Pop-Tart, though.
And you will arrive at the staging center for day 1. Who else do we have that is going with a group? Sam, you are traveling either alone or with Cree.
I'd probably be going with Cree.
Okay.
Unless she has her family and they want to see her off separately.
Yeah, so your other option is you could be traveling with either mom or dad. Or they could be seeing you off to get into the car kind of thing.
It would be nice to see Dad.
Okay, so I think this will be the first time that you have encountered him in a little while.
It's been a couple of years, probably.
Yeah, from a little bit, and there's a big hug as he makes it to you, and he says, "Oh, it's so good to wow, you look awesome. You look so
thanks.
good. I mean,
I don't know if I told you, but I've been doing stuff. I got an accountability buddy, and I'm working out every day, and I think I'm doing better.
You look
better.
I mean, it's almost as though your mom didn't overfeed you. And
oh, thanks, Dad.
and I mean, like you're doing really good. She just never should have kept stuff. So he grumbles on for a little bit. This is a fairly common tangent. And he goes, well, so you did you sign up for classes or?
Oh yeah, I signed up for a bunch of them. I got I took a whole bunch of these really cool science classes. There's like this really cool like creatures that should have never been things that should have never been made class I'm taking. I hope it goes into viruses. I really liked science and medicine when we were in high school, so I was thinking I might look into that a little bit. I'm having a hard time finding electives, but I think I'll find something.
Well, I mean, there's a whole kind of world up there to figure out with, and it's all sort of yours now, right? So you can go off and do what you want to do. And if you want to, if you have any questions about the industry, I can I'll help you out there. I guess you can ask your mother.
No, I think I'd like talking to you about it, Dad. Some more.
Yeah, so on
good.
that note, I guess. I mean, I know it's the first time we've seen each other in a little while, and that we had to deal with it, but it's going to be a little harder to get a hold of you going forward. And I've been, away from your mom for a while now, and my life is kind of moving forward. I'm not necessarily going to be able to relate all that stuff to you if we only know parts of our conversations that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something to think about. Like I don't know if she's really paying that close attention to us anymore. I mean, she might be. I suppose we'll find out.
Yeah.
What is that? And he's looking off in the distance, and there is a vehicle coming that looks rather opulent, and it's not the one you're waiting for.
I don't know. Is that for you?
No, I think that's your mother's business.
Oh.
And right about that time, the actual car from the school will arrive and float down next to you. And it opens up, and he kind of looks at you, and you realize that you have this moment of, if you get in now, you will avoid this situation. She is still about 3 minutes away.
I give my dad a kiss on the cheek. You gotta go.
And he nods and says, "Yeah, just go. I'll talk to you soon. Talk to me soon. I'll talk to you soon."
All right. Bye, Dad.
And he waves you off, and he closes, and the vehicle begins to take off right as the other one is touching down, and you catch out of the rearview mirror a shape that you haven't seen in some while, waving a hand angrily toward him as he's approaching the car. Like, why did you let that leave?
Yeah, I can already hear the telltale familiar signs of two parents yelling.
Yeah.
And I kind of sink into that. The shoulders drop, and I kind of sink into my seat a bit because it brings up a lot of bad feelings all at once. And she closes her eyes and starts counting back from 10.
And it takes off on its own, and it's a fairly quiet and somewhat somber ride on the ascent up. It's a very opulent vehicle and very pretty, and it's supposed to be. There's even music playing on the inside of, it's kind of the triumphant, intro to Little Witch Academia theme song, kind of going, welcome to the glory that is your new life. But it all feels.
I do have to use an airsick bag on the way up. I do look outside.
Oh, it totally shows you the views. Like the windows are everywhere.
It's one of those ones that's like glass bottom, isn't
Pretty
it? Where it's like,
much,
look
yeah.
at how beautiful this is. It's like, right into the bag.
And the best part is it of course circles the campus a few times, so you get that kind of spiral going.
Yeah, she's a little more green for a guinea pig by the time it ends.
And then Nari, your character. What do you want to do for kind of departure? Because I don't think you've got any NPCs that are living with you or anything, so it's probably just you alone.
Yeah, it's just probably like my dad seeing me off at most, and then I'll just get in the car. She's really not. She's kind of been a little sheltered, to be honest. Like the entire lateral things had like super overprotective parent, and
yeah, so there will be some concerns. I think that's probably what happens for the most part as you're getting into it. Is now they are both. Mom was even able to show up for this just by serendipity. She wasn't able to schedule for it, but she was there and she's like, "Oh my God, you're leaving, and I didn't even know that you were going." And you, so there's lots of hugs and stuff, and then there's the kind of reality sinking in that you really haven't been out of the nest, quote unquote, much. And while the concept of being out and able to fly on your own and stuff is not terribly alarming, your idea of actual physical independence is a little concerning. Because this will be the first time that you will be completely isolated in another environment wherein you are significantly smaller and more vulnerable than most of the people on a physical level. And as the car takes you up and you realize that you're barely tall enough to see out the window kind of thing, the reality sets in that like if somebody decides to turn you into a soccer ball up here in Campus Town, it's not a whole lot you can do about it.
I will say she has learned how to fly. She's got the endurance flying thing. She's basically seen as much of the town as you can see from a bird's eye view. But she's always had the sort of fallback, as she knows she can head right back home whenever stuff goes on. So
which you can, but there's strict rules in the campus for leaving. So if you decide to take off in the middle of it, you're risking basically being kicked out.
Oh no, I just meant like in terms of like now she realizes that's not quite as much of an option anymore.
Right. So the scenarios going through your head are fairly myriad, and most of them consist of potentially negative things going on.
Right.
So the excitement is kind of faded a tad, and now it's sort of like, what have I gotten myself into? But as you will arrive at the end and come out and join the field, you do see a wide array of different people that are there, but there actually aren't a whole lot of people that are arriving. You've got maybe 60 incoming students or something for the semester total, and by and large, since most of it is based off of wealth and standing, they tend to be just standard morphism. There's a couple that are obscure. So you are the only lateral that you currently see stepping out. Now you don't have the greatest view because you're stepping out of the car, but there aren't a whole lot of the other ones standing out to you quite at the moment. And then we got Star. Star, do you have a way or a particular thing that you want to depart with?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I've got like already planned out a whole new look and everything because now that I've got some space, I'm going to completely change, the way I've been doing things. And I'm going to do that part of the way on the, leaving whatever vehicle they send me in. And then I'm going to make them drop me off somewhere and take an Uber. The rest of the way once I'm changed.
Oh, okay. So you because the vehicle that the school sends just takes you right up to the school. But
I figured it would be a vehicle that my parents sent.
Okay.
I
didn't hear that last bit. What'd you say?
I said, sorry, I figured it would be a vehicle that my parents sent.
Oh, so they conceivably could drive you up there as investors in the school, but the school's admission thing is they basically send down the golden chariot kind of thing.
Okay.
Now you can set the place that it arrives, but the parents, since they arranged it, would probably set it to their house. So you may have to.
Oh, well, never mind. I don't have any reason to do that then. If everybody shows up like this.
Yeah, they all come in the same vehicle. That is the admissions proper. Now, your parents have said that that they came to you and said, so we can give you a ride in the company car up to the top. The school will allow it.
No, I'll take the regular one.
Are you sure? Because you will have the better ride.
Right, but it's a prestige thing. It shows
I could
that
take you
gotta-
in the Alpha.
Yeah, but it's a prestige thing. It shows that you've been accepted.
Yeah, well, everyone knows you've been accepted from arriving in one of our automobiles. But if you want to arrive at the same level, we won't force you.
And it just kind of feels like an experience that I can't replicate.
He kind of waves his hand a little bit. There are some worth remembering and some that don't. But certainly, if you want to take the school car, then you can go for it, and I can try to come up with a voice that doesn't sound vaguely like the rich white person snob voice. I'll work on that as we go.
Quite.
Yes, quite. Oh, posh and baller.
Oh, yes.
What have you done to the
All
chat?
around.
If you want to travel there like a mere billionaire.
You don't understand. There's wealth, and then there's us.
Well, that derailed everything.
Well, now we all feel bad because we're poor.
This is the richest I've ever been in my life, and it's roleplay. Oh.
Oh.
Better be careful running with a gun. So he will see you off. Now you do have an opportunity. The ride up there takes about 10 minutes or so. You could conceivably get dressed in the car.
That was my plan.
Okay. So upon getting into the vehicle, you sit down. This is supposed to be a kind of memorable experience for folks, and that they are surrounded by prettiness, and they do make it look nice because they are expecting kind of the rich folk to get into it. So it should look nice even by their standards, but you cannot be bothered right now with being overwhelmed with this because you have but few moments to redecorate yourself.
I've been practicing.
The rapid thing. So I assume you do the Wonder Woman spin and proceed to transform into a newer self. What is the new reflection?
The new reflection is basically a moody goth, because who would think to look for her liking like that?
Fair enough.
It's just a little piece of rebelliousness.
Thankfully, the
my
car is
opportunity to
willing
make my own
to accommodate you in various ways. You can have the windows turn into mirrors and stuff like that to apply things. And you are able to wrap up and shove your original clothing into your bag just in time to hide the company logo on your clothes and stuff as it is arriving. And you kind of, the last thing you see as the windows turn back into normal is the descent into the school, and you realize that you kind of missed the flyby. And the kind of gravity sets in that this is it. You're in a completely independent environment now, and you are going in there as somebody new that, frankly, is almost unrecognizable. And there's this kind of smug sense of satisfaction that not even Iran would really. Not that he ever saw you to begin with that much. Well, he kind of did, because you were at the same school, right? You're like, I've done it. I have redecorated, and you have successfully stashed away your clothes into your bag to step outside onto the tarmac or whatever it would be called.
I'll do so.
As you are arriving, and all the other cars are also arriving. We got everybody right. Yeah, we did. For sure. Everybody else will start going in. You can look around. Some of you will see some familiar faces. Sarah, by now you have discovered that some of your guildmates have actually come to the same place. So this is your chance to actually meet Aaron in person, which you're super excited to do because he should be around somewhere. You just kind of have to figure out where he is. It doesn't take you long to find out. I can't explain how this is, but having been to a couple of conventions, I instantly recognize people that I've known online and never seen. I don't know what it is that does that, but
Yeah, you'd sound like that.
yeah, or something does it. There's something about it. You see them looking. There's a thing that makes it possible.
You know what I find really helps is
Huh.
if you break into singing something related to the game, like the EDF theme song, just suddenly clues people in, and they all start gathering around, and go, "I like that game," and then you recognize voices.
But it is fairly successful. So you do run into him and find him close by. And there is a moment of hugs and a moment of, wow, I didn't think you'd looked at anything like, wow, you're really fancy.
Good. Yeah. She says, looking up at him, "You sounded shorter."
I get that a lot. He says, looking proud, and then a little confused, like maybe you shouldn't look so proud about it. Very fancy looking guy, kind of scruffy, but on the whole in good shape and admirable. So you're feeling pretty happy with yourself right now because
Yeah.
you were like, the nerds have come together and they're actually quite good looking nerds.
Good looking nerd.
Your sister has kind of already moved off.
Gone off to do her own thing.
And she has probably gotten in line because that's just what she does: is head off to where she is appointed to and go there as directed. But he's super excited to see you. Traveling with them is a possum of considerable distinct appearance with very shiny hair. Which, by the way, was that a dye thing, or did you is that a permanent fix? Like, how is that attended to? For Gus.
John.
Oh my god, I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, can they not hear me? And then I realized.
Yeah. Gus's hair, is that like a permanent surgical fix, or is that a dye, or how is that handled?
Oh, it's dye.
It's dye. Okay, the good old-fashioned way. So yeah, there's a very street-looking possum.
Hi, dude. I like your hair.
Thanks. I am Gus.
You guys. I'm Sarah. You guys know each other?
Yeah, Gus is my guy. He claps him in the back. He hangs out at my house and is like an awesome inventor and stuff. He doesn't actually play the game because he doesn't have any of that. He points to his eye and pokes it like you do, you freaks.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah pokes her on eye grins.
Yeah. He doesn't do it, but I mean, he's an awesome guy. We play DDR.
I sleep on his couch.
God, that's old school.
The couch is basically his. On account of most people don't want to be on it anymore.
Huh. Oh,
Gus,
cool.
by the way, is dressed in uniform as everybody needs to be, but the uniform is a little disheveled.
And a little bit big.
It looks like it can use some tuning. I
So
want to
what are
believe
you
that
guys-
these ones have the little button that you have on the plug suit for the Ava thing, where it just kind of like
Yeah.
seals in.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing here? Like, what are you taking?
Oh gosh, so many. I'm taking a couple classes with Dr. Gen. I'm taking PE apparently.
Yeah, well, I
Hey,
mean,
look at the
you
shooter
can
and a
probably
lot.
use a little PE apparently.
They have PE here?
Yeah, didn't you
Oh,
sign
that'd
up?
be easy.
Are
okay.
you looking for? Because I totally signed up for like the media thing because I figured that would be.
Oh, yeah, ditto.
Yeah. All right. So us and like 40 other people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Easy-
make this the
easy-
hardest
easy.
class you fuckers get.
Yeah. Need lots of easy padding so that I can focus on my passion.
Yeah, which I mean was what, by the way? Because you never really talked about it in Guild.
Yeah, still figuring that out.
Oh, well, how'd you get in?
Oh, crazy story. I'll tell you about it later.
All right, yeah, cool. Because I mean, we kind of, I mean, my folks sort of paid my way in, but the Gus here got like scholarshiped.
Kind of like, yeah, kind of the same, but yeah, I'll fill you in. Are we supposed to like line up in one of these lines, or
Yeah, probably. Maybe it's alphabetized, or I hope. Because if it's numeric, I'm gonna have a
ticket?
problem.
Which way do I go?
And you guys
She's
will
going to actually
go around and start
just
looking
start.
for it.
Yeah, gonna start tapping, trying to figure out where to go.
For Sam, go ahead and roll a body perceive difficulty 2 for glitter.
Ah, body perceive, you say?
Yes.
The one perceive I'm not good at.
It's the glasses.
Alright. D6 plus D8, I think, on that. Because it down steps, and then +1 for the exert, right? That's right. Wow.
Okay. It's very crowded. You're not seeing a whole lot of people that you recognize.
I'm getting a little overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah. It is. You're definitely up here with a whole lot of folks, and the usual kind of arrays for figuring out where you're supposed to go or get oriented or not, just not present.
It also feels like chaos.
Yeah. And you're not completely certain where you need to be at the time. So you don't really see anybody until you get basically run into by a fluffy lovebird. It's just like, oh my god, I found you.
Oh, thank God! I've been like, oh my god, there are so many people. I don't know any of these people. Who are they?
I know. I mean, I saw one or two. Like I saw. There's a guy over here that I know from school because I've chatted with him before in the past. And we can kind of hope, and that way after they line us up, because we're probably gonna have to get into like an order or something like that for the lines.
Okay.
But yes, okay, you're good. You're here. I was worried that you weren't going to be here,
yeah.
and I was going to have to like fly down and get you,
yeah,
which would be harder because then I'd have to like charter a course because I don't. I mean, I could getting down wouldn't be hard. It's the landing.
Oh, I got so sick on the ride up. Oh.
I'm so sorry. Did you see your dad? Because I know you were going to meet him. And...
Yeah, I saw my dad. My mom tried to come.
Oh no.
Yeah,
did
and
you...
there was yelling.
Hey, it's all right. I mean, you were done. You were literally like half a mile away or something. It might be a couple thousand feet. I should have checked the altitude.
I know. I did what I'm supposed to do, but it's just.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll hang out with you for a second, and then
Okay.
when they put us
Sorry.
up, hopefully we'll be like dormed. I think we can be dormed. Hello. You look lost. Or I'm sorry, you don't actually look lost, but are you lost? She says, looking down to the vulture that is kind of padding around at knee level.
Oh, sorta. I actually don't know where we're supposed to go to next. They sort of got us the car and got up here. This is all
Yeah,
kind of
so
sudden.
this is kind of the
We're
milling
lost
around
too.
time.
Hi.
Yeah, they're eventually gonna start sorting us into like different sections for the tour so that we can see the campus. But
I'm hoping we get sorted into Hufflepuff together.
I mean, yeah, that would definitely.
This
be
is when they bring out the
violation.
hat of mind reading.
So as you know, kids come in four varieties.
Brave, evil, smart, and miscellaneous.
Yes.
Oh, awkward.
I still- One of my favorite freaking Harry Potter tweets. Brave, evil, cunning, and miscellaneous. Anywho, so miscellaneous.
Stop talking about my house like that. God damn it.
You Hufflepuff.
So yeah. So if you just kind of hang out here, what's your name?
My name's Jury.
Oh, okay. So that's close to my name by virtue of a strange alphabet that involves the name being close to each other. H-I-J. Oh, that is actually close. No, that's right next to Cree, isn't it? I was just going to arrange that as like a plot arc,
Wow.
but conveniently that works out. So, yeah, if you just kind of hang out here, we'll be pretty close to each other. And then yeah, you should be fine there.
Okay.
Star, go ahead and do a body perceive difficulty 2. Fox?
Sorry?
Oh, I had to do a body perceive difficulty 2.
Oh, my bad. I did not hear my name. Body perceive. Give me just a second to open my character sheet. What was the difficulty?
2. Electric Boogaloo.
And that's plus my body exert.
Yeah.
Bam.
Bunzo. Oh yeah. So you like a predator on patrol are immediately eyeing out for people that you have to be wary of, because any one of these people could sniff out your true identity, and thus endanger this entire mission. It occurs to you at some point through this thought process that perhaps you shouldn't be considering it as this horrible mission, but it is still kind of ingrained in your head that you have something to hide, and that it needs to be protected at some point, or you are going to be in a lot of quote unquote trouble.
So, and in order to hide from your fate, Harry Potter, you're going to need to come hang with the Hufflepuffs to start.
Pretty much, yeah. And while that probably doesn't actually equate to any sort of direct punishment on account of like you're wealthy and beyond such things, from a social standpoint, you feel like you are flirting with disaster at every given moment. So it's kind of putting you on edge to begin with.
Hey, it's a chance that I might not get something that I want.
Yeah, it's true.
The greatest tragedy that anybody has ever faced.
The first time you may have ever feared this.
Because before it was just a guarantee. So there will be a kind of. Oh, right, that's where I was going. Sorry, I was trying to think of who it was that I was going to have you run into, and I was also debating whether or not I wanted to do an Alan Rickman for the Snape character, but I don't think I want to. Because that would just descend into madness very quickly.
Saying that because we would basically then be playing Harry Potter.
Pretty much, and you're saying that as though that wouldn't basically be okay.
No, it would be everything we wanted. Why don't we have a sorting hat?
Give it time. It's going to consist of the sorting twister game.
That's how we choose our dorms.
They basically just drop you down a tube, and whichever one you roll into, that's the one you were supposed to go to.
See, there are 5 different types of tubes.
It's based on
evil.
Maleficent.
You hear a voice next to you that says, "Hey, I like your hair." And it is not the Alan Rickman character, so don't get totally weirded out to begin with.
I'm going to kind of look that direction.
There is a purple-hued, looks like a skunk based on the tail. Kind of a tall, I'm going to say vaguely effeminate looking, but it's mostly just that he's well-trimmed and has a
Metro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot that was a term that existed.
Like
kind of like came around.
Dumb.
The patterns that he's got though are very unique. You figure they can't be natural because they're too symmetrical. But it looks like all the white pattern's been rearranged. That he basically has this kind of semi-skull thing going on with his face. It's totally hitting on that goth vibe that you were going for. Only it's a little bit more colorful than the route that you took. He wears it very well though. And it does well with the kind of tailored suit. Like he's got the uniform on, but it's done in one of the variant styles where you can get like a double-breasted suit for it to go across the front of it. Very fancy looking. So he's got the same kind of look that you've got, wherein this is clearly somebody who lived an edgy life, rebellion kind of deal, but is trimmed up nicely. He's wearing it with a little bit more confidence than you perhaps are, in that he's probably had it for quite a while. So, whereas this is probably your first time kind of putting on this face, this is someone who's lived this reality for some time now and is quite comfortable in it.
I was like, oh, thanks. I like, is that...
He kind of grins a little bit, waiting for you to figure out a word for it.
It's like, is that like a dye job, or is that a treatment?
No, I had it fixed after we got out of high school, actually. I'd worn it like this for a while, but it's permanent now.
Like, that's really cool.
Thank you. Are you? I was about to ask if you were new here. Of course you're new here. We're both new here. Where'd you come up from?
You know, another school.
He nods a little bit, like you do when you don't know what to say in it. And he says, "My name's March."
Yeah, I'm Star.
And he kind of nods toward you, and you can do a mind perceive difficulty 2.
All right. Actually, if
Actually,
I fail
we
this,
can.
I would say it's the excitement of using my new name for the first time. Mind perceive difficulty 2.
The
Not great.
difficulty actually on this one is going to be based on your character. So he is in the group of ghost chasers that is currently popular on YouTube. So if that's something that your character would have seen or watched at some point, then the difficulty goes down.
I'll tell you what. Let me do this. I will. How popular are they?
I mean, they are quite popular right now. They're kind of a trending thing. They get a couple million views per video, and if you are at all into that scene, you've seen them.
I'm gonna give this a. I'm gonna say 3 through 6. Yep, I've seen them.
Okay, so make it difficulty 0, and just see if it occurs to you. Mind perceive.
Wow, that's bad.
That is bad. Do you want to do
Um,
anything to it, or do you want to keep it?
I'll reroll that 2. Actually, I'll reroll that 3 first.
Right. 9, 10, 11, 12. You made it.
All right.
It dawns on you mid-view. The reason you hadn't realized it before is because he's wearing more clothing than he normally does. You're used to seeing him in something a bit more just kind of casual. But this is March from Signal Dead, which is the group that is currently kind of trending on all this sort of ghost chasing thing, and has the really cool videos where they go up to places that they shouldn't be and do stuff that they shouldn't do, like you do.
That is a genuinely cool name.
I'm really.
That's why I didn't tell you guys
immediately
about
jealous.
it.
It's like crap. They've got everything above us, over us.
And he's one of the star personalities on the top. It's him and this other tiger who's this a bit more sporty, kind of boisterous guy, and he's sort of the more subdued personality that's on the show. That seems a little bit more genuine.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, wait, are you from Signal Dead?
He
Wait, is
chuckles a
that
little bit and
much?
says, "You watch it?"
Yeah. I mean, I started kind of recently. She just kind of, like fixes her hair a little.
And he nods a little bit and says, "I did. Actually, a lot of us got into this school. We kind of lucked out on that show. I didn't really think it was going to happen that way, but sometimes you get lucky."
That's really cool. You're doing good work. It's fun.
Oh, well, I mean, hopefully we'll get to meet you, and everybody else is here too. They're nice. I mean, they're mostly nice. I'm not going to lie; some of them are less nice than others. And he chuckles a little bit. Speaking of, and then he looks down the road, and if you look down there, you can see a rather colorful tiger, big, more athletic build. His uniform is probably a size smaller than it should be on the character, and he is surrounded by people. Because he's despite March's patternings, he doesn't exude the sort of "come get me" personality, whereas this guy made a lot of noise the moment he showed up. So people have noticed him quickly, and he's waving over and he says, "I'm being summoned." Well, it was nice meeting you, Star.
Yeah, likewise.
And he will head off in that direction with his hands in his pockets, to the sound of various squeals. And that at that point, the bell will toll as the sorting will begin.
I'm adding to my brand new social media page that I made for myself. Just like met Marsh from Signal Dead. He liked my hair.
Personal self-worth increases by 3 points.
Feeling validated.
And we'll hold there for now, just because I have to get up early in the morning. But that will be where we start up. So folks have kind of met each other in the same place, and we all pretty much have at least one class in common, if not two, to go into.
I have pitched the HSD sorting tubes.
I'm thinking like a sorting centrifuge. A centrifuge where it's like the Spaceship 2000. You got to get into it, and it just glues you to the walls. As you go flying out of the top of it.
Etc. can also be changed to low expectations.
I like that promising and attractive are separated.
Yes.
I also like that dangerous is its own category.
See, we find students fall into 4 separate categories.
That person is literally a serial killer. Yes, but they're quite attractive.
You have to
The
weigh the two
attractive
against
are never
each other.
dangerous.
Attractive people are just attractive.
They make very excellent lamps.
Hey, see,
Uh,
does this count as playing?
oh,
What we
yeah,
did today?
you can get experience for this, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only
Yay.
only gonna issue 11 for it since we didn't do anything particularly dangerous. But you can
Svi, the rules
It
say.
does specifically say.
fine. Fucking make me follow my own rules.
You did write the game.
That means I can change.
Also, when I tried to do this, you corrected me.
Well, I mean, I did write the game.
Also, sweet, can we have a announcements channel and a tracking channel?
Yeah, I'll put those up here once we start the.
And a channel?
And this will give me
Also,
time to
a
work
document
on
channel would probably be
character
handy.
appearance.
That would be pretty good. Let's toss.
What
a
was
few
that,
more
Nari?
there.
So this will give me time to work on character appearance because I'm like, yeah, it's a vulture. What does she look like? She's a really big bird, just feathers.
So is it 11?
Let's,
I
click.
believe the minimum is 15.
I think it's
That's
15.
I was just wondering, is this are you sticking with the 11 or are you hoisted upon?
Do the 15. It's fine because we
Yeah.
are at extremely low levels at the moment, so there's no reason to stay down there. Take the 15.
Oh, sweet.
Yay.
I've got
Mm.
unspent experience. I can buy
Oh,
something
God.
shiny.
I have to do mathematics for the sheet rather than just putting a number somewhere. Not cut out for this.
I'll fix it.
What do I want? I want.
Announce documents.
Incense, peppermints.
Yes. Announce documents. Tracking. That was the other one. Tracking. Great. Session 1. EXP 15. That's all we got from that one.
Interesting.
Money for this, we're actually going to be basing our money kind of on how the videos do, a little bit going with, and it will be a little while before you get some. Mostly because there's not going to be anything that's really getting disposed of between a lot of these. We're not burning ammo or anything. So, but as we start doing things and getting missions, our money will be based on certain choices that come out of that. I also have a new channel to present to you guys. Let me get it pulled up here. I don't. This is a little premature, but I want to get the link out just in case we need it. Gmail. To Gmail. To Gmail. What? To Gmail. Click. Click. There we go. This one. Links. Link. Okay. Documents.
Jeez, Svi, stop Nari linking.
There we go. I put it in the documents
Don't
channel.
you start that here.
This is
Leads.
Leads. For Jonathan Ledford Siegel, our Lord and Savior, I guess. The greatest of seagulls. This is kind of like the mission tracking thing that Sam was using. Only it will have a couple different things. This is going to have the public report stuff is just information that you can get from looking around at news broadcasts and general rumors and stuff. And then you will get refinements on those things based on NPCs you speak to. So that's where the tips from Jet, tips from Marge, and stuff like that will get into. They might also give you options from there. So I will try to track them all as they pop up. Because for the most part, they're not going to disappear. Most of them aren't really time sensitive, but their overall validity is going to start to go down because the other team is going to investigate them at the same time. So if you're not grabbing one, they're grabbing one. So you will have a little competition between leads.
Yeah, and you were smart and have made this few only.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. And also, I did copy the other links over into that channel too, so we won't keep losing them because it has been monster scrolling.
Yeah. All right, stuff. All right, cool. That was it. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I know it was a bunch of back and forths, but I mean, we brought everybody together, which was the goal. So now we're all in the same place and can meet each other and have some background.
Yeah.
Thanks for a game.
I feel like
Thanks for the game.
since I met Marsh immediately, I feel like I'm gonna try to get into Signal Dead and find out that I can't, and then be like, oh well, there's this other group.
We're all trying to get into Signal Dead, basically.
No, I'm desperately trying to find a reason to exist at this school.
Yeah.
Hey, can I be in Signal Dead? No. Well, then I'll make my own Signal Dead.
Blackjack.
I actually like to think that we're not the only spin-off group that happens. There's probably like a whole bunch of fan girls.
There are 5 other cryptid groups in this school alone.
And they all like don't stick with it after like the first time. Some of them don't post their videos.
All I can think of now is like eventually, midterms of school, that scene from Anchorman where all the different news anchors come up to fight. That's probably
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like, who are you guys? Well, we never posted our videos. We got really bored, and, it was kind of wet. Jerry got an infection.
Yeah, I want to shut down the stream.